Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. We are getting ready to jump on into our second series of the day. 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 taking on SBTC. I'm still joined by 𝘀𝗀cie and 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀. 𝘀𝗀cie, I'll jump to you first. 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 versus SBTC. How do you see this game going?
I mean, 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 was already started off nicely yesterday. I mean, right? I mean, they played 𝘀𝗰, who is arguably the clear favorite for the title of arguably a top team, I would say at least after game day one. I would say even beforehand you would know that there's a team to look up to, and they bet them to 1. Could have maybe even gotten the 2-0 if they didn't throw that second game at Baron earlier. And yeah, I mean, that's like the toughest part of the schedule right away. And now they play SBTC this time, who is, but of course, also not a weak team at all. So I'm looking forward to the series as well.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀, going to you, one of the big standout players for 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 in that 2-1 win over 𝘀𝗰 for me was 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎𝑎. How well do you think he played? How big of a player is he for 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 right now?
𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎𝑎 looks straight back onto his 2020 form where he won the split with 𝘀𝗀cie, and that's insane because he came into that and was arguably a better jungler than 𝘁𝗀𝗏, and in that last series he was definitely a better jungler than 𝘁𝗀𝗏, and it was actually insane to take that name down off your list and be like, yeah, I'm better than him, I can beat the top. If you beat him, you should be absolutely in the front rank to be the best jungler in the split. It's one series, so that is a bit of an overreaction. But 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎 seems to be that extra edge 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 has always been looking for in the past to carry themselves from just a really good team to the top team.
Yeah, and 𝘀𝗀cie, while 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎 did play well, it was still a solid performance from everyone else on the team. 𝘂𝑖ado and Artemis both playing very well in the mid and bottom lane roles.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they had really great performance there. I mean, they were always known to be like the carries of this team, especially Artemis in the bot lane, right? I remember his Tristana game, I think it was yesterday. He played as well against 𝘀𝗰. On the other side, gotta say, it wasn't not maybe 𝘀𝗰's A game yesterday. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 was apparently sick and couldn't practice all the time. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 probably had an off day to some extent, but yeah, gotta give credit where credit is due. 𝘀𝗏𝗏's bet 𝘀𝗰, the favorite, and now they get to play next game, but also not to underestimate the next opponent, right? I mean, SBTC is also no slouch either. They won the game against Secret 2-0, which was not the cleanest win either way, but it was still a win. So yeah, gotta give them their respect too.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀, coming into this game, what matchup are you particularly looking forward to?
I'm really excited for the jungle matchup because both of these junglers sort of miss spring, and they've both come in and they've had really big impacts. Penguin and 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎 both really just showing up and saying, yes, I actually deserve to be at the top. I deserve to be in the VCS. I am a really strong jungler in a region known for its junglers. And I think this is the most exciting. The next would be, say, but it's also, okay, sorry, let me, bleh. It's the most exciting. That isn't the most obvious, which would be Celebrity Artemis, classic big names that you would normally look to and say, oh, we must jump on this one.
I mean, for me, the bottom lane matchup is something I'm very much looking forward to. I think Celebrity and CBL played very well for SBTC in their win over, I believe it was Team
Secret.
Team Secret. I knew it was one of the two over Team Secret. And Artemis and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 both very good for 𝘀𝗀𝗏 as well, and two big ADCs in the league, arguably two of the best ADCs. What about you, 𝘀𝗀cie? Are you with 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 in thinking that this jungle matchup is probably going to be the most exciting part of the series to watch?
I'm a bit torn actually. I mean, it's either the bottom lane or the jungle matchup for sure. I mean, Penguin had a really great first series. He was playing Nidalee, which we doubted initially, but he proved us wrong and he had a really great performance on it. And also the 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎 in the second game. I want to see more 𝘂𝑚 in the VCS. It's a very strong skirmish champion, and that's exactly where the VCS thrives, so to say. And from Celebrity and CBL, I mean, it wasn't that clean for me. I mean, Celebrity was always on the Jhin, which is a pick I do not like that much in the VCS, to be honest. And we saw Artemis mostly on hyper carries like Vayne, like Tristana against 𝘀𝗰. He played brilliantly on it, and that is something that might be the edge that pulls it home today for 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 against SBTC.
Well, 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 will be coming in confidently. Both teams currently with a couple of, I say a couple of wins, a series win to their name, 2 game wins as extension of that. And we've spoken a little bit about this jungle matchup. Both 𝘂𝑎𝑎𝑎 and Penguin like to play aggressively, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀. Are there any champions that you think might be somewhat unexpected, let's say?
I mean, we could see a lot coming through the different roles. One, I'm really looking forward to keeping my eye on. That would be a throw pick, is because 𝘂𝗀 will still be in the mid lane because Artifact's out with COVID, so he's gone for the week at least. We're probably expecting to see. We could see, now that we are off the 11-19, which is the patch they played on in day one, into a post-Ingenious Hunter buff. 𝘂𝗀 was a known Vladimir one trick, and Predator Vlad mid lane is actually crazy right now. So that could be an option, and if so, I would be very excited to see it.
𝘀cie, we saw, as 𝘀𝗶𝗶 mentioned, Artifact not being in, so SBDC, instead of subbing in Vince, they've put 𝘂𝗀 into that mid lane, so they've got effectively 2 top laners on the team. And we saw that in the sense that 𝘂𝗀 tried to play those as the top laners in the mid lane. Do you think this is potentially a big weakness of SBTC that 𝘀𝗀 could exploit?
For sure. I mean, it was already like struggling in the lane phase last time where he played against, who was it? It was 𝘁𝗀.
Yeah,
𝘁𝗀.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 𝘁𝗀 where he played, and he was also struggling in the lane phase there. He was both games on top laners, of course, in the mid lane. And maybe he has to rely on that because his champion pool in the mid lane is not really up to the task. And now he plays against 𝘂𝗀, a mid laner who really showed up yesterday. And 𝘂𝗀 alone might create such a huge lead in the mid lane that it will be almost unsurmountable from the side of SBTC to come back against that. And I'm really looking forward to what 𝘂𝗀 can do if he maybe gets the Vex, maybe gets the Wise to just abuse the champion pool of his enemy, and maybe he just snowballs the game from there, yeah.
Okay, well, we are getting closer and closer to jumping on into a game, but one matchup that we haven't really had much of a chance to talk about is this top lane matchup. We're expecting 𝘁 against 𝘁𝗀. I believe it's 𝘂𝗀 who we'll probably never see over the course of the year, and just keep hearing about him potentially playing, right, 𝘁𝗀?
It's not real. I've given
Poor
up.
𝘁𝗀. It's only game day 2. There is still hope.
It's never happening. But 𝘁𝗀, this top lane matchup then between what we expect to be 𝘁 and 𝘁𝗀.
Yeah, I expect from these two to be a very quiet sort of lane, and then both of them sort of show up to these team fights and actually have pretty impactful fights later. I'm not entirely. I put that more to the fact that 𝘁𝗀 definitely had a weak showing up against Nagia, whereas 𝘁 and 𝘂𝗀 just sort of bounced off each other and nothing happened at the top side. So we might see a bit of a top lane exploitation possible from the side of 𝘂𝗀, being able to sort of bully the weaker laning phase, but I wouldn't be expecting that.
And so far from 𝘁𝗀, it's his first, split in the VCS, so he is coming in as rookie, and we've only seen 2 games from him so far, which was in that previous series on day 1, which was the 𝘂𝗀 and the 𝘁𝗏 games. 𝘀𝗀, what do you make of essentially the 𝘂𝗀 and 𝘁𝗏, and do you think there's any other champs that he could really pull out that kind of fit that style of play?
I mean, the 𝘁𝗏 not, because the 𝘁𝗏's already banned in the draft of the first game, as we are seeing right now. I don't know if the broadcast is already up to that, because we are going to the picks and pans. Yeah, 𝘁𝗏's already out, as I just said. 𝘂𝗀, however, might be a pick for him. And I would expect, of course, from the other side, 𝘁 played 2 Renekton games against 𝘁𝗀, worked really well. And assuming they win the mid lane pretty handily with 𝘂𝗀 facing against 𝘂𝗀, who is, of course, kind of a field player in this regard, maybe they just go for the Renekton again. Maybe then just 𝘁𝗀 doesn't really see the light in the laning phase at all.
Well, Renekton.
Oh!
Renekton was going to be locked in, but we've got Xayah in.
This is much more exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, 𝘁𝗀, take us away.
Alright, so since you last saw Xayah, her Q got changed, and now she just throws that out every couple of seconds. She just wants to rush the She's either got 2 build options. One is the lethality build, which I'm not entirely sure we'll see over the crit build, which is just Essence Reaver into your Gale Force, sort of standard thing, focusing on the CDR. That one, the latter provides a bit more sustained damage as the game progresses, but you can absolutely dominate a laning phase by going for the just Eclipse into Manamune build instead. So very interested to see how they take it.
And SBTC, they're just locking in their solo lane straight off the bat here, 𝘀𝗀, Renekton and Irelia.
Yeah, I mean, this is also probably getting counterpicked there on their side, but they picked the Vex immediately into the 𝘀𝗀𝗪, which is a good answer by 𝘀𝗀𝗪, of course, because, I mean, you want to counter mobility. 𝘀𝗀𝗪 is like maybe one of the most mobile, if not the most mobile champion in the entire game, with all the blade surge dashes you can put out in the early game. And Renekton is already a smart pick away, I would say, because Pan would probably default to the Renekton if he isn't challenged anyway in this champion pool, and taking it away is maybe also a good solution for 𝘀𝗀𝗪, because Renekton kind of wins the first levels for free, so to say, and this might stabilize at least the early game for SBTC a little bit.
Well, aggression from SBTC, Cerberus with a couple of the counter picks. I do like seeing the Xayah coming through, and now the 𝘀𝗀𝗪 will be completing the first round of picks for the side of SBTC.
Yeah, and I think from here, if you're Cerberus, you have a couple of options. You're maybe looking to see the a bit of a pinch towards the jungle pool, because that's what's left. That's what's kind of left that the that SBTC has to respond with. On the other side, SBTC, they're going to look to take away the big supports as they have the first pick, and that still leaves them the a sort of jungle counter pick to work with. Maybe it lets them see, can we go for something like, actually no, never mind, the Nidalee is banned, so go for something a little bit stranger.
Well, the Loves duo has been taken away, 𝘀cie. What else would you like to see potentially being paired up with the Xayah, or even banned away from Cerberus?
Maybe they just go into an enchanter bundle, because Xayah is really popping off when she gets enchanted in the mid game, especially if you go like the crit build, which is very good in the late game. Maybe she goes to the 𝘀𝗪𝗪 build anyway, because it's super strong in this current patch, but they ban away the 𝘀𝗀, which would bring another safety net for her. What I expect now is Cerberus to pick something like an 𝑎listair, something like a Leona, so they have a really good protection for the Xayah all around. But yeah, Cerberus on their side just now banning the junglers, and I'm really wondering what's really left there for Penguin to play, because many junglers are banned. Probably the Viego, or maybe even the Gragas is something he would default in this regard, but I'm not quite sure on what his options are.
In terms of AP, Gragas is the only one that really stands out, unless they're going to pull out a bit more of a solo queue pick like the Evelynn. But this Nautilus takeaway is, I assume, is sort of trying to, okay, there's the Leona instead, but and that's probably a better option than giving it over to 𝑟oNoP. But so if I'm 𝑟oNoP, I'd probably just go for the Nautilus to counteract the a bit of the mobility from the Irelia end, or just target the MF as she stood still on the and cancel the ultimate. But they go for the 𝘚listair instead.
Yeah, 𝘚listair locked in. I was actually wondering if we would have seen a 𝘚resh, because Xayah 𝘚resh was fairly strong from my memory. Now, 𝘀𝗀𝗪, we talked about junglers. That Graves is still open for the side of Cerberus, but first off, the side of, for SBTC, it's open. Cerberus, though, have to pick their top laner now.
Yeah, they have to pick their top lane now. As you said, Graves is open. I wonder what they're picking, because the overlay is bugging out on the side of VTV. They just picked nothing. I mean, probably 5, the game is really hard to play. I mean, you have Pan in the top lane. Probably. Jokes aside, I mean, what could they have picked that the overlay bugs out? Maybe it's bad.
I would, if I was picking something, I'd go Graves, considering it managed to fall all the way down. But it's 𝘚𝗏𝗏.
𝘚𝗏𝗏. Hey. Very strong early game champion, of course. Can maybe even match the Renekton, which is surprising. Yet will be the 𝘀𝗀𝗪 as the option on the side of Penguin. Really looking forward to it, because I'm not quite sold on 𝘀𝗀𝗪 yet, but maybe I would have seen the Gragas more here, because it's way more reliable. But 𝘀𝗀𝗪, if he gets ahead, it's a really strong snowballing champion, and might be detrimental in this game, because yeah, if he gets in onto Yano somehow with his blink ability, he can maybe outplay the passive of the Vex that makes it hard to really get in onto her with the fear mechanic. But like this, it's probably something 𝘀𝗀𝗪 can work with.
I do like how a Vex gets locked in, and the side of SBTC pick 4 champions with dashes and blink. So I don't know if they've counterpicked themselves somewhat, but I do kind of agree with what you were saying, 𝘀𝗀𝗪, about the 𝘀𝗀𝗪, because maybe I really like some 𝘀𝗀𝗪, but as 𝘀𝗀𝗪 says, if you don't get ahead, you can find yourself in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the case for generally both teams as a whole. You're sort of looking for that win lane, win game sort of scenario. Cerberus does scale a little bit better as time goes on with the Xayah, the Tahm Kench, and the flexibility of the Lee Sin means they're not as reliant on that early game. But both, I think, are going to sort of go hard at each other in the early game, just really looking for that advantage because that's where their comps will shine the most.
So I'll start with you, 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, and then move on to you, 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Thoughts on who's come out of the drafting phase on top, and thoughts on who's going to take the win?
As I said, I think they both have similar compositions, but Cerberus has a bit more late game insurance. And just as a team, I think Cerberus is a better version of 𝘀𝑠BTC. So.
And 𝘀𝗀𝗃?
I would completely echo that. I like the late game insurance Cerberus has here, and they also have really good laning matchups, especially in the solo lane. So I think it's a pretty comfortable win for Team Cerberus here.
Okay, Cerberus from both our analysts. I'm going with Cerberus as well. All three of us predicted Cerberus to take a clean 2-0 over 𝘀𝑠BTC. But let's see whether the VCS can once again throw a bit of a thorn in our analysts' side. 𝘀𝗀𝗃, we're into game 1. Let's go.
Let's go. And we see a 5-point start from both teams, which means no level 1 shenanigans, which is also recommended because, I mean, you have 𝘀𝑠tar and 𝘂𝑚 as your supports. Both not really a champion at level 1. You need Headbutt and 𝘁𝗶𝗴𝗀, or you need the Zenith Blade and the Shield of Daybreak on the side of 𝘂𝑚 to really have the impact there, unless you just straight up flash on top of the enemy, which is something that is also not recommended. So really, really slow early game. In the VCS, I mean, that's not usually where the teams skirmish anyway. We need to wait a few more levels for that one. Or in the bot lanes, as we see, level 2 fights were already happening there. But yeah, nice red buff start from Ego, so it means he paths towards top side and maybe wants to punish the Renekton. Maybe 𝘀𝑚𝑝𝑟 is the one in trouble in a few minutes.
Both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map, and I asked a question at the bit before the series did begin, what matchup do we really want to look forward to? And both yourself and 𝘀𝗀𝗶𝗶 talked about the jungle matchup. We've got a Lee Sin against Echo. This has to be a volatile matchup, surely. This has to be the kind of matchup we wanted to see between these two key players for both sides.
For sure. I mean, with Echo, it's either go hard or go home. With Lee Sin, surprisingly, usually would say that as well, but he's kind of more of a stable pick in that regard because he's still like going the booster build at the moment with the Sterak's and the 𝘁𝗀𝗃𝗀, and he will be fine either way. But with Echo, he kind of is very snowball reliant with his maybe even the Dark Seal that he wants to stack. Maybe he goes the Lich Bane route or Rocket Belt on this side, and now the level 2 in the bot lane comes out.
CBL going in on Artemis. 𝑟ONOP says, you know what, I'll go in on Celebrity, and they're going to get a much better trade, courtesy of Artemis having that Summonarian. We talked about what build we might be seeing. So far, it's looking like it will be Artemis going towards that Lethality Xayah build.
For sure. I mean, he started longsword as well, so he is quicker on the serrated third completion or the 𝘁𝗏𝗆's Warhammer. He doesn't need Dorans. That is not something that he endorses. He is probably, setting up to have this be a game where he explodes in the mid game with the more mana, with the Eclipse item build likely. I mean, he also has very squishy targets on the enemy side. There's no really full tank there. The tankiest members he's going to hit are likely the Renekton and the 𝘂𝑚, who's a bit starved on gold considering she's a support, and Renekton never really gets to be a full tank, right? His defensive steroids are not really there. He has his sustain, he has 𝘁𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀, he likely also goes Sterak's, but that's basically it.
And for people who are wondering, you know, why are the analysts so biased towards Cerberus? Why do they all think it's going to be a 2-0? What's the reasoning behind that? Cerberus were only able to finish 4th in the regular season in spring. Well, yes, but they've improved their roster. They've got Ego in the jungle now, and in case anyone didn't see the game yesterday, they looked very good, and they beat 𝘀𝗀𝗃 2-1. Probably could have been a 2-0 as well. Such was how well this team played together.
For sure. I mean, it really was a statement game against 𝘀𝗀𝗃. I mean, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is like the team everyone in the world basically knows from VCS. The only team most people know, sadly, because the VCS has many great teams, and 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is only one of them. But yeah, 𝘀𝗀𝗃, the team with Levi, yeah. It's a little bit like the PCS with Flash Wolves. But anyway, 𝘀𝗀 is getting in trouble here, and he doesn't have a flash.
Well, 𝘀𝗀 going to take the Abyssal Voyage, or actually, it's no longer the Abyssal Voyage, is it? The
True.
Abyssal Dive out to safety.
You don't even need me. You know all the ability names as well. It's Abyssal Dive.
Yeah. It's all thanks to your wonderful sport quizzes. It's how, you know, the good old cast, the mental training that one must do.
Sure, mental training is more important than the Sporkle quiz for sure. But thanks anyway.
Well, so far, everything's been fairly chill, and to be honest, I think if you're the side of Cerberus, you are more than happy to do that. You're waiting for Artemis, maybe just to complete that first lethality item. Same for Yado as well, and then that's when you can really start to take fights. And as 𝘀𝗀𝗶𝗶 said in the pregame, as you said as well during drafting phase, if this Echo doesn't get ahead, it's going to be near useless in the later stages of the game.
For sure. I mean, he's a really squishy champion. The Lee Sin at least gets something in this fight. And Echo now with the blasting one start is of course looking heavy into AP. It will be the rocket belt start, very, very certain. I mean, maybe he could go Everfrost or something, but I haven't seen many competitive Echoes, I must admit, because he's very rarely played. Mostly also was just a bandit fix pick because they really needed magic damage in the composition. Karthus was banned out, Lilia as well, because Cerberus saw that window as well, that they might just get pincered there, and I'm really looking forward to what Penguin can do, because we know from the first series, Penguin is a strong jungler. He can perform in skirmishes, he played Echo, he played Nidalee, and yeah, Nidalee also a ban against them, by the way. So really looking forward to what this Echo can do, because it likely is not the ideal pick for him. It is just the replacement of any other AP junglers he would have otherwise played.
We also saw in the bot lane 𝘁𝗀 just catching the wave, preventing it from crashing so that Artemis could get all the XP and freeze the wave. And CBL thought, you know what, I'm going to come bully the Alisson. The Alisson said, look, I don't really care. You can hit me all you want. It's going to do no damage to me at this point. So all's well for 𝘁𝗀. He's going to back, and actually he's pathing over to mid lane. So maybe we can see a cheeky little play from the side of Cerberus. First blood still on the cards.
Yeah, first blood still on the cards. It's a very, very slow game. That is unlike the VCS usually. But we have seen earlier, I mean, Yado, when he was level 5, just setting the level 6 power spike, he was bullying Hero out of lane quite handedly, and Hero almost died in the 1v1 there, despite Yado not having an Ignite ready, and I'm really looking forward to what Vex can do in the skirmishes. She is level 6 now, she is a reset champion, one good Shadow Surge, and it can all fall apart for the side of SBTC, and maybe about this first wave, there's some action going.
𝘁𝗀 gonna lock down on 𝘁𝗀. Meanwhile, Ego just ensuring that he can actually get this counter flash forward with the Vanguard's edge, and just a flash away. Meanwhile, first blood secured by Artemis in the bottom lane. Out comes the Featherstorm. CBL will end up picking the return kill, but it's a 1-for-1, and it's Cerberus who get first blood.
Cerberus get first blood. Artemis just the better AD carry in this situation. Is on the Xayah, very good duelist. MF much less so. She's more of the teamfight reliant champion there, and it is a Xayah going towards the 𝘁𝗀 build, which does a lot of damage in this situation. He also bought some time, not just the first blood bonus that gets added on top of Cerberus. He also got the I think he had an Ignite ticket. I wonder where that's coming from, because Irelia has CP. I'm really wondering what happened there.
Oh, so Celebrity just gets run down.
It's CBL's Ignite. It wasn't Irelia. My bad. Anyway, he just buys a lot of time for his team. Also falls DP out from, I think it was Renekton, yeah? Renekton's DP is also down. So, little bit of a win for them, because Pan gets his DP up sooner now. No Drake taken by either team, but yeah, small win, but not a big one. But certainly one for Cerberus.
And don't forget, Emperor used that teleport as well. Pun didn't. Well, he didn't have his teleport available. And something that I think we probably should touch on is now the fact that both ADCs don't have either of their summoner spells available. And surely this is an opening for both Ego and Penguin to look for some plays on the bottom side of the map.
For sure. I mean, you need to use this window on the side of Penguin, probably, because we say it over and over again. He needs to snowball. Now Artemis is down his Featherstorm and his Flash, also his Cleanse. And now you see Yado. He has to burn his Flash, but he gets out of a 1v3 situation. Very nicely done by him. And I wonder what they can use of this. They want to start a Rift Herald. Maybe they have an opening now, because SBTC used a lot of their main cooldowns. And if they get into a fight now, they might be in trouble.
𝘁𝗀 was looking for something, as meanwhile in the top side, Pun just absolutely devouring Emperor. Frog versus Croc. And the Frog are coming out on top. Nobody dies, though. Meanwhile, Cerberus and Yado just poking down the side of SBTC. You can see how low CBL has gone. Penguin going over the wall. You've got to be careful there, son, because you could just get collapsed. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Pun still trading. When he uses the shield, but if Emperor can wait out the shield, maybe he can do this, but no, he's stunned down, and he's taken down, and Ego shows up just a little bit too late. Wanted to get an assist, but will be unable to do so.
He also didn't deserve an assist, let's be real. It was a classic solo bowler for the 𝘁𝗀. I mean, we could argue that maybe even 𝘁𝗀 doesn't deserve the solo kill because he's just doing 𝘁𝗀 gaming. But yeah, here we are. Solo kill for the 𝘁𝗀 against the Renekton. Renekton already having a bit of trouble.
Okay, 𝘁𝗀 going in. Flash pulverized. The feathers are being dropped down as out comes the bullet time. Meanwhile, Hero trying to dash his way through, unable to get any kills. CBL on a sliver of HP and will survive. Yado now getting run down by Celebrity as Artemis is being run down by Penguin. It's all going the way of SBTC. Yado's going to be able to make his way out. Penguin chasing down Artemis. The slow comes through, and the Z Drive Resonance will pick up the kill for Penguin. SBTC now with 5 kills and a 700 goal lead.
And Penguin absolutely smashed this fight. I mean, he got the 2 kills. He also got the Herald steal there. And at first it looked kind of good for Cerberus, but there wasn't really anything done to Penguin there. And Shadow Surge was also burned off screen around the time that Pan got a solo kill on Emperor in the top lane. And that was a main ability that was down in the fight for Cerberus, which is maybe why they shouldn't have taken this fight at all, or at least not started the Rift Herald on their side, because that was just getting stolen there. And it's a little bit of a disaster for them. They're 1k gold down now, lost the Herald, which will also lose them a lot of map control later on, and some plating money on top of that. And really illicit fight. Here we see it again. Herald is started by Cerberus. They also choose to take this fight, but they get really run down by the wombo combo. Bullet time hits, Solar Flare hits beautifully, and Vex doesn't really get to thrive in this fight. They're also, I think they also let CBL live, which is really unfortunate anyway. And Penguin just is untouched on the top side of the fight, gets the steal, gets 2 killed there, and the bot lane can just watch how they die to the time winder of Echo.
And I don't really understand that engage that came through from RunOP, because yes, it was a decent engage if the rest of his team was ready to follow up, because he went for the flash pulverize, but he never got a headbutt, which I think he wanted to do just to get a bit of a delivery system through. But Pan, being engaged on by 2 members, going to try to use the Abyssal Dive, and does so successfully. No CC available for Emperor or Penguin to cancel it.
Yeah, nothing to cancel some Kench there, so he gets out alive there. I mean, he is flashless, so you might think you can punch him easily, but he's still a Tahm Kench. He's very tanky, and with this mobility spell, easily to get out there. Maybe Ego can stop the recoil there, but he doesn't have vision on the Irelia, so there's nothing to take from him. Wolf's also down. Maybe the Drake is the consolation prize for the fight they lost earlier on the map, because their reset timings are just a little bit better on time for this. It is on vision though, so SBTC might have something to say about it.
Yeah, you said that it was being a little bit too quiet for a VCS game, and, well, both SBTC and Cerberus want to make it a bit more exciting. Cerberus there at the Drake first, and SBTC say it's not worth the fight. They're up 1,000 gold. They don't need to risk throwing away gold bounties just for one meaningless Drake.
Definitely, but I think that SBTC kind of dropped the ball there. I think they should have had the edge there at this Drake time. If they do not have the reset timings they chose to take, also Herald could have maybe been a distraction for potential play there, but now Vegas edge onto Yado, and I think he's in trouble.
Yeah, Vanguard's Edge Timewinder finding the damage as well, finding the slows. Penguin picks up the kill. Bullet time in the bottom lane. Ego not going to be able to land the Sonic Wave onto CBL. Not that I think he wanted to go in on a full HP Leona. Rift Herald dropped in the mid lane, and this is going to be a lot of tower plays going the way of SBTC, who are in control of a game. And well, I think all 3 of us on the hosting desk now, 𝘀cie, might be looking a little bit sheepish, because SBTC are playing much better than we thought they would be.
Definitely. Also, I mean, the death was just clown-to-clown communication. We had it earlier in the VCS streets. And yeah, now good Vanguard's Edge plus gangplay there onto Yado. He didn't have his flash available, and also if he flashes, he maybe just dies anyway to the Blade Surge. So you get the counter to the mid laner there. You will see the replay again. He gets caught by the Flawless Duet, ultimate on top. And what can he really do? I mean, even if he has flash, he probably just gets run down there. And it's an ideal timing, because Herald is also still up for Penguin, and he gets even more plating there. Nothing that Yado can do to defend this. And mid lane turret almost falling there. 2k gold is the difference now between these 2 teams. And with that, over and over again, the Echo needs to snowball. Well, now he did.
Yeah, he has snowballed, and it's such a coin flip game for SBTC about getting this Echo ahead, but the Echo is ahead. That's what matters, and now Penguin is going to be having so much damage in these skirmishes that will be ensuing. Tower plating will be falling in about 30 seconds time, so a small window still left for both teams just to get a bit of additional gold into the wallets.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the game maybe is slowing down. This is something that speaks very much in favor of Cerberus here. They kind of dropped the ball into the recent skirmishes here. Now it's getting a little bit more safe for them to pick up the CS here, and I think also Artemis is really happy if he just gets to scale for free in this game. He showed earlier that he is maybe the better AD carry, especially in the duels, and if he just gets to scale a little bit more, it's fine for him to not have a 3-0 Echo in his face all the time. It also helps that the Xayah just now gets maybe closer to a second item. She has Eclipse finished, she has a tier more than halfly stacked, and it's taking a little bit more time until he has the game impact he needs to have in this game. Luckily for Cerberus, they at least got the first Drake, so they can slow down the game a little bit more. Look at this Vex damage. Vex is so broken. Maybe Vex is also like one of the win conditions they still have.
Absolutely, only 1 death to Yado's name. And let's not forget as well, you know, Artemis is, sure, he's gone for the airy build, he's going for lethality, but still, relative to a Misfortune in the early stages of the game, relative to a Misfortune Leona duo, they're still the stronger side in the bottom lane in the early stages of the game.
For sure, and it won't change until the near future. Maybe in the mid game there will be a good spike for 𝘀cie to take, but it is a 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 misfortunate. He's also very prone to getting caught out by ego. Maybe he can land a good Sonic Wave into instinct onto him to maybe get him out of the fight early on. And Artemis has the luxury of having a cleanse and also having a Feather Storm, which makes it a bit easier. Look at this poke, it's absolutely disgusting. The Fell Desire, welcome to it.
Yep, as a Abyssal Dive takes Pun out to safety. But I think what you just mentioned is essentially what we're seeing from Cerberus. When they're able to get these little traits, when they're able to get these little pokes, whether that's Artemis, whether that's 𝘀𝗀, whether that's Pun, they do so much damage. But in the extended fights, that's when Celebrity, that's when Hero do so much more work. 4-man dive potentially being set up here by Cerberus. 𝘀𝗀 not too far away and has the ultimate available as well if they want to commit. All that they'll get off it though is forcing Celebrity and CBL away from the outer tower, but it has meant that Hero is just able to free farm in the mid lane.
And that makes it probably not worth for them. If they get the kills there, it's probably worth for them, but like this, they just get the tier 1 turret in bot lane, which is of course nice to have, but they also drop first turret in the mid lane. The turret inevitably was to fall anyway, but 𝘀𝗀 also gets another push onto the tier 2 there. And with turret number 2, not the biggest objective in the game, but still one that hurts to lose, especially if you are behind. And the question for me now is, Cerberus, likely the better team on paper, likely the better scaling as well. Can they stabilize enough to not lose this game to whatever 𝘀cie throws at them in the mid game? Because this is a very scary mid game for them. The Echo is ahead, the Misfortune is ahead, and they all thrive at this time of the game state. And I'm looking forward to what the next fights are looking to be, because Infernal Drag is coming up in a few seconds, and I wonder what 𝘀cie has to offer.
All I want to say right now is that so far Team Secret put up a better showing against 𝘀cie than what Cerberus are currently doing.
Ouch.
And you can take that as however you want. I mean, 𝘀cie, they're just the best VCS team, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, for sure. 𝘀cie is the best team. I mean, they are better than Cerberus, who are better than 𝘀𝗀, and who even is 𝘀𝗀, and yeah.
It's actually Team Secret who are the second best team in the league. Team Secret are going to Worlds next year.
Yeah, I mean, they had such a clean win against Team Flash earlier. I mean, it's just obvious, right?
It was clearly the pinnacle of VCS gameplay, at least for the 2021 Winter Split. We're seeing 𝘀cie now turning their attention towards the Drake, the second Drake of the game, but it will be 𝘀cie's first Drake of the game. And Cerberus are doing a decent job. They're trying to get objectives on the other side of the map when an opportunity presents itself to them. In this case, they're looking for the outer tower in the top lane. They're going to tank a few tower shots in the process.
I wonder if that was really necessary. Trading objectives is of course something that is fine for them, but they are bound to lose more than they are getting there, because the second turret is pretty ideal.
Get another charge.
Yeah, for a push against 0 defending members, you can get a lot of charges on. This is at least a tier 2 turret that is falling on the side of Cerberus, and they are for sure not getting a tier 2 on their way on the other side of the map. It was probably bound to happen anyway with the turret and with the state of the game they are currently in, with them being behind, but still not really a great trade deal for them. They are now 3k gold down, and yeah, question still remains, can they stabilize? Can they avoid fights enough that the Echo will be back at the curve they are expecting it to be? And maybe they can get it done better when they themselves hit like a 2-item, 3-item power spike when the game is easier to play for them.
Let's just look at that gold difference though, because we're talking about a 3k gold lead for 𝘀cie, but they're a tower up, they're 3 kills up, and they got the first 2 Rift Heralds. I think when you consider all of that, that's not a huge gold advantage, because having 2 Rift Heralds, being able to get the amount of plates that 𝘀cie got, I actually would have thought the gold difference might have been a little bit larger than what it currently is. So I think Cerberus have done a decent job of being able to find gold avenues for themselves, being able to find 2 of those towers, even if they were towers in the side lanes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they show with this that they are not really panicking if they have a few skirmishes not going really their way, and they are doing a decent job of holding on. They only lost this 1 tier 2 turret to a second turret, which is okay for them. Maybe even helps them a little bit, because it's like when you drop an early inhibitor, you get free gold, free XP. This is a little bit, but to a lesser degree if you drop a tier 2 turret early on, or tier 3 turret. In this case, it is a tier 2 turret. And maybe this is something that actually ends up helping them a little bit. They are keeping up in experience. They are not making 𝘀cie extend the gold lead too much. It's still 3k. If it stays 3k within the next 5 minutes, I would be very hopeful of them that they can keep it going and scale fighting to the game. Also, you see Artemis now almost complete his Muamana. He will power spike decently well with this, And I think if it goes on like this, it is fine for them, but SBTC probably makes the next move in a few minutes when the next objective spawn, being at the Baron, which is probably not the first objective they would take at the 20-minute mark, but with the next Ocean Drake, it certainly would.
20 minutes into the game, as you mentioned, Baron has now spawned, but I don't think either team will really be looking for this one too early on, as you can see 𝘀𝗀 and 𝘀𝗀 just shadowing 𝘀𝗀 in the top lane, just waiting to see if there would potentially be a dive from Penguin and 𝘀𝗀. But Penguin 3-0 and 2. He's looking towards that 𝘙𝗶𝗋 now, and he's not too far away from it either.
Yeah, it's not too far away from it. He already has the confidence all up for it. And also he has a stopwatch, so in case something bad happens, he can combine the stopwatch even with his chrono break to have a great impact on it, considering the damage it does. Usually use the chrono break only defensively to get out of trouble, but he can maybe even combine both aspects of it. If he uses it together with the stopwatch, you shift back in time 4 seconds with it. 2.5 of this you can cover with the stopwatch. So maybe there's an opening for him where he just dives in deeply, almost gets killed, then use stopwatch plus chrono break, and now
well, Artemis taken down low, and there's a teleport coming in from behind the side of Cerberus. Are going to have to run for the hills. It's a good 2-man affair, but the flash forward with the Vanguard's edge. 𝘀𝗀, does he want to go in? Abyssal Dive comes through. Flawless Duet will find the lockdown. 𝘀𝗀 and 𝘀𝗀 on the run. Sonic Wave connects. No resonating strike from 𝘀𝗀 just yet. And SBTC will be forced to retreat. A good defensive play from Cerberus.
Yeah, very good defensive play from them. And you see that it was really intended defensively. They used really everything to stop any fight happening there, because they know they cannot fight at this point. Using the Dragon's Rage, the Lee Sin kick defensively really helped them there. And also 𝘀𝗀's clutch 2-man fear there onto the TP, which is of course a telegraphed spell, which is something you expect from a pro player. But of course, good play for him to dissuade the situation. And maybe they get a chase on here onto Penguin or 𝘀𝗀. But they chose against it, which is wise, because yeah, you still don't want to fight against a team that is ahead of you, especially if you are low on vision, which is what Cerberus are.
And that goal difference now up to 3,500. I think it was about 2,500 or 3,000 not too long ago. We do have a Drake up in 20 seconds time. It's not a hugely impactful Drake. It would just be the second Drake, regardless of which team got it. 𝘀𝗀. Okay, to be fair, I thought Artemis was going to do more damage when he pulled the feathers back. Oh, pardon me, he didn't pull the feathers back, he just threw them out. He just cancelled the back, which means 𝘀𝗀 will be a little bit late to this Drake fight if Cerberus do, or I should say if SBTC decide to party.
Yeah, maybe this is also very huge, because this might just be what tips it into the favor of Cerberus again. They get the Drake likely for them. Could have maybe also gotten for the mid lane tier 1, or decide on either of them. They just decide to go for the Drake, which is a smart decision, because yeah, you delay a potential soul for 5 minutes on the side of SBTC, and it would be an ocean soul. I mean, they don't really have the Giga tanks on their side. They have Renekton and 𝘀𝗀 and Leona, who work mostly with the lifesteal abilities, except for the Leona, who gets straight up tanky. I mean, even for support, not like super tanky, but still decent enough. And an ocean soul would really help to turn you from a half-decent tank to a decent tank, and that is something that would have worked greatly for them, especially with the DPS on the side of Cerberus, which is not the greatest, because it is a 𝘀𝗀, it is a Vex, who of course has decent damage, but it's not a Liandry's Vex, but a Luden's Tempest one, and now Cerberus sees an angle.
Yep, Engage comes through, the lockdown, but it's only on to CEL. It's only on to the support. It's a good insect play. So much damage, and that's the Echo down. That's the main damage dealer from SBTC gone. The focus on to CBL, but there is the second cast of the ultimate from 𝘀𝗀. He goes in onto Celebrity. He gets the kill. The second Shadow Surge will not find 𝘀𝗀, and now Cerberus turn towards the Baron. All of a sudden, that goal lead dwindling for SBTC. 𝘀𝗀 still alive, so is 𝘀𝗀, and right now SBTC are giving up the Baron in exchange for pushing in the mid lane.
I mean, that Baron is gone, and what a beautiful kick by 𝘀𝗀 that was to catch Penguin out. He needs the ultimate very early, is not really in a position where it does really end up mattering much. He just buys a little bit of time, and one of PC's opening with the 𝘀𝗀star, and Cerberus does not hesitate at all. They are behind, they find the angling, they immediately go for it, and it rewards them greatly. They get the Baron now, they get the Drake earlier. 𝘀𝗀 might also die there, at least use his flash.
He flashes, but the Lee Sin is coming as well. Can they get in range? There is a blast cone. Not that 𝘀𝗀 needs it, because he can just slice his way over the wall. But I think he's going to try to turn this one around. 𝘀𝗀 just needs to get in range to be able to use the blade surge over the wall. But in the end, 𝘀𝗀 decides against it and walks out of the fight.
And still 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC again here. The Dominus is down, the Flash is down for 𝘀𝗀𝗺 as well. And the gold lead we earlier addressed, which was around 4k for 𝘀𝑠BTC, is almost completely dwindling away now. It is only 1.4k, which is not really remarkable anymore, the 25-minute mark. There's still a Baron for 2 more minutes on the side of Cerberus, which they can use to push on their side, maybe get a tier 2 turret or maybe even the tier 1 turret, because there's still a mid-lane tier 1 turret setting up. But here, the replay very important, immediately. Headbutt Pulverize from 1OP, Featherstorm offensively from the 𝘀𝗀𝗺𝗃, and here, look at the kick from Ego. Absolutely disgusting. TP is also coming out for the reinforcement here. Also, what we didn't highlight before was the Shadow Surge plays from Vex here. Now she flies in. Celebrity is caught off guard by it. I mean, is it really caught off guard? He just cannot do anything, let's be real.
Yeah. And we saw the 𝘀𝗀𝗺𝗃 being dropped down, slightly mistimed by Hero. I think he wanted to wait maybe half a second more to be able to drop it. Thought he could maybe catch it out Yadow mid-flight, but unable to do so. And now Cerberus have 1.5 minutes more of this Baron buff, and they're trying to use it to pick up the inner tower. But you can see the amount of work, the amount of poke damage, and it's mainly just coming from Yadow and Artemis. Artemis with the summon area just throws down the double daggers and can just do so much work.
Yeah, so much work. And he also, through this fight, he got a lot of money infusion going on. He is suddenly on the 𝘀𝗀𝗺𝗃 𝘀 as well. He's free item to Felt Desire. Earlier he was a little bit behind the curve, and now he's more than fine again. His damage is really sticking to his targets. He has both flat and percentage penetration in his armor penetration arsenal going on. And with the sticking slows from the 𝘀𝗀𝗺𝗃, he can kite both offensively and defensively well. And that really hurts 𝘀𝑠BTC, who are by now, again, losing the whole gold lead. They are suddenly 1k down. They are down in the Drake department as well. And this is again Cerberus game in control.
Cerberus 400 gold ahead. Baron timing out in 30 seconds at time. We've got a Drake in just over a minute, which Cerberus will be eyeing up. Cerberus now back in control of the game. I'm just trying to work out, what did 𝘀𝑠BTC do wrong? They lost one fight. They barely got caught out. It's kind of bizarre almost how Cerberus have turned this game in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, they just cuddled it up a little bit too much against Alistar and the Lee Sin there, and that's all that Cerberus really needed.
Oh, Artemis might be dead here. He's going to drop down. The Featherstorm teleports coming in, and there is no collapse from 𝘀𝑠BTC. It's a good flawless duet to lock down Pun momentarily, but Cerberus are perfectly fine, and Artemis only had to use his ultimate and a cleanse in the trade.
And this alone can just mean that you tutor it here, because the solar flare is very impactful. Is there no
It's a
way?
collapse onto Pun, but that's a very tanky Toad. And now the engage comes in. That's a knockup. That's a headbutt. It's another knockup. And 𝘀𝑠BTC are just absolutely getting blown to shreds. 𝘀𝗀𝗺𝗀 will try his best to stay alive, but will end up dying. Cerberus are actually going to teleport in the mid lane and probably look for an inhibitor.
Or they just go straight for the end here. I mean, there's no wave clear on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC.
Have the wave?
Even if they respawn. Yeah, they have the wave. It's a 5-0 fight just now. And with a snip, they just all die. I mean, Penguin didn't get to use his chrono back there. He didn't get his flash there. I mean, the initial engage for 𝘀𝑠BTC was not really there. I mean, it got really countered well by the Featherstorm and the cleanse by Artemis. And with all tools down, with all members down, they couldn't really have the fight there. Now, 5 minutes ago, it was 𝘀𝑠BTC's game, but now it's already over and it's on the other side. Cerberus find one opening and just win the game.
This game turned on its head so darn quickly. Cerberus win the opening game against 𝘀𝑠BTC, and to be honest, 𝘀𝗀𝗃, if 𝘀𝑠BTC can't win from that stage, when can they win?
That's a great question to ask, I would say. Maybe we can get Marby's opinion on this later after I think we get a break beforehand. Not sure, actually. And
It depends how nice Foods is. If he wants to give us a break, but I think he's feeling generous today, so we will get a break. We will be jumping on into a break, and we hope to see all of you wonderful people on the other side, as we will be getting Mabinogi's thoughts on the game.
The
Welcome back, folks. I've got 𝘀𝗀cie and 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀 alongside me to break down Game 1 of 𝘀𝗏 against 𝘀𝑠BTC, and hopefully they will be able to break down the game as well as 𝘀𝑠BTC broke down mid-game and lost their goal lead. 𝘀𝗏𝗶𝗹𝗀, do you want to start us off?
Really, it came down to great individual play more than anything else. The map movements from 𝘀𝑠BTC started off extremely well. They were always trading up as they made moves around the map, trading one turret for two usually, just making sure they always came up ahead. But then it came into that they tried to go for that big play around the mid lane, which was immediately dispelled by the two-man fear from Vex and the interference from a 𝘀𝗀. There was basically two TPs invested, a bunch of ultimates, and all they got from it was 𝘂𝗍's cleanse, which means that in the next Baron fight, they were able to get a really good pick onto Penguin, win that, get the Baron, and from there, gold was straight back to even. They were able to push on their own terms and then win fights through beautiful plays through Artemis and 𝘁𝗏.
And 𝘀𝗀cie, to go to you, while we were casting, we talked about how 𝘀𝑠BTC were ahead, but what went wrong for them? Was it, as 𝘀𝗏𝗶 said, trying to look for these plays, trying to look for these catches on Artemis that weren't successful, or was it just a case of Cerberus's comp being better or easier to execute in these team fights?
I mean, to some extent, it was just Cerberus being clutch and pulling the trigger when needed and just punishing the mispositioning that was there for 𝘀𝑠BTC. But we gotta dig it a little bit deeper into this because 𝘀𝑠BTC was trying over and over again to kill the 𝘀𝗀 in the top lane there, and he repeatedly got out just with his abyssal dive. And so there was like a window where 𝘀𝑠BTC were ahead, tried to snowball even more, and just failed to do so. And we need to target that a little bit more, I think, because and they need to target that a little bit more because there's definitely some room to grow for them. And if they are a little bit more clutch and more up to the task when they are ahead, they could easily just take a game here because when Cerberus got the same lead, they were absolutely clutch and immediately whipped the game away from them.
And 𝘀𝗏𝗶, to go back to you, and I think this is an unfair question, not an unfair question to ask you, but an unfair question about 𝘀𝑠BTC. Do you think if Artifact was playing, 𝘀𝑠BTC would have won?
Not with that draft, but I do think if Artifact's in, you have a much more flexible options and you're not limited to these top laners and mid lane, and that opens you up to play the Vex yourself, play these mid lane mages. So it would be better with Artifact, but it wouldn't change the outcome of that game.
And the reason why I asked the question is just because I'm kind of interested to see where the state of the VCS essentially is, because we kind of have Cerberus now at the... Well, I have Cerberus now at the top over 𝘀 after that result. Many people would have put 𝘀 at the top first. But regardless, we know it's 𝘀, Cerberus, 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗀 as our top three. But if 𝘀𝑠BTC esports are putting up this good of a show against Cerberus, and this is without having Artifact, what are the hopes for them heading towards the end of the season? Surely we see them as being part of what would effectively become a four-way battle for playoffs. I'll throw to 𝘀𝗀cie on that one first.
I mean, you just made a great point yourself. I mean, if you have this performance with your substitute mid laner, and you can only go higher from that one if you get your main mid laner in, can actually play the meta, can even, maybe do something like take away the Vex, play more traditional style, then you definitely have better chances to advance here. And I mean, even without the main mid laner with Artifact, they are maybe still the fourth best team in the league. Maybe even they can challenge 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗀, who I think didn't look that impressive so far. Or maybe even, as we just saw, challenge Cerberus, because Cerberus looked not unbeatable, and we have seen Cerberus beating 𝘀, so there's basically everything possible for them.
And 𝘀𝗏𝗶, your thoughts on the same question?
I think the most important matchup to look at would be 𝘀𝑠BTC coming into next week when hopefully they have Artifact back, specifically on day 5 against 𝘀𝗀𝗓𝗏. Because if they handle 𝘀𝗀𝗓𝗏, I think they're pretty securely locked in that top 4. And then you have to see how they play against the other top teams. Can they grab games? Can they really push win conditions? Don't necessarily think that'll be what happens with Hero in the game. Or, well, rather Hero and 𝘀𝗀𝗏. I'm not sure who they will actually pick as their starting top when Artifact returns, but with without Artifact, I don't think you can really say they're challenging the top 3, but I think if they are pretty securely 4th, maybe 5th, depends on how they match up with 𝘀𝑠ury.
So, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, did I hear that right? Are you also on the 𝘀𝑠ury hype train?
𝘀𝑠ury is the best of the rest. There's the top 4, then
Okay.
𝘀𝑠ury is better than the rest.
Fair enough. Strong words, strong words. 𝘀𝗀cie, looking towards game 2, we talked heading into game 1 that the jungle matchup would be the matchup to focus on. Now, having seen game 1, with hindsight, do you think that is an accurate way to portray the series, or do you think there is another matchup that we should particularly be looking more towards?
I mean, we should maybe look a little bit more into bot and mid lane matchup there, because, I mean, in the jungle, I mean, Penguin played more than fine. I mean, he got his lead onto the 𝘁𝗀. He was just maybe having this one misplay where, ironically, Ego himself kicked him into the fight, and it was just all over for him within seconds. And that was like, yeah, maybe the turning point of the game, even. But I mean, overall, Penguin played more than fine. There wasn't really a huge jungle gap or anything. Maybe there was even, you could maybe even argue that Penguin played better than Ego overall in this game. But yeah, speaking of hero, his champion pool inevitably does shoehorn them a little bit, and I'm not quite sure if it's enough for Team 𝘀𝑠BTC in the second game to pull it back. But yeah, we need to also address the bot lane matchup there, because 𝘀𝑠BTC got the early solo death against Artemis, and Artemis was really a little bit flexing on him there.
Well, Ego finding that 𝘁𝗀𝗰𝗀𝗀 kick was a massive turn, and we're going to turn the show towards picks and bans, because we are in the drafting phase. 𝘀𝑠BTC over on the blue side, Cerberus over on the red, and right now, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹, the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC trying to pinch away that mid lane pool for 𝘂𝑑𝑜.
They're sort of looking to hit the ones that really have the pressure to sort of hit side lanes and snowball through that, which indicates to me 𝘀𝑠BTC are looking to hopefully try and sort of get those death ball 𝘀𝗀𝗍 comes together. Taking away that big pick from Artemis is also a good move. Hitting that Xayah.
And 𝘀𝗀𝗃, we're seeing a couple of these AP champions being taken away, as well as the Lucian. And once again, we're getting the VCS special, the Jhin first pick for 𝘀𝑠BTC.
Yeah, I don't like the Jhin first pick. I said it over again. I want to see our failures or something beforehand. Maybe they are just too hesitant on it, because our failures is a good support for pairing, and Raven, that's just a
I got baited.
Not this early.
Yeah,
yes, let's cast the curse here. It's definitely not going to be locked in. Absolutely not. What do you think should be locked in, though?
Not Renekton. Maybe Vex should be a lock-in, because you know that hero probably can't counter it. He just tried. He didn't try with 𝘂𝗍 really. I mean, it wasn't really fair. I mean, Vex got picked into 𝘂𝗍 to counter the dash mechanic. But Renekton Jarvan is not the first rotation I would like to see early, because
no, I want to see the Azir so we can get the copy pasta going. Renekton Azir.
No.
Wait, what copy pasta is that?
The Chronicle one from Worlds about Gen.G.
Oh, VDD Azir, and yeah, they just pick the same stuff over and over again and just don't improve because they're not forced to improve, and when they finally are forced to improve, they just plummet down and lose. Yeah. Gen.G has a little bit of parallels compared to the whole of VCS, if you put it like this, yeah.
I think we hit some
Renekton and Galio.
Okay, we do have an 𝘂𝗍𝗍 locked in. We saw Hero playing the 𝘂𝗍𝗍 in game 1, which it was a decent 𝘂𝗍𝗍, but it never really got far enough ahead to be able to turn the game, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹.
Yeah, and as it is, I would be more willing to say this might be going towards 𝑁𝑝a and just trying to follow the croc, because they're not going for like that double flex sort of situation where they could send either the top lane into the mid lane, because Renekton mid still functions. It's not that as good, but it is a thing. But 𝘂𝗍𝗍, if he's not going to be challenged, he's just going to keep going back to this Vex. It's strong, it helps counter the 𝘂𝗍𝗍 in the earlier skirmishes, and it's just so impactful in the hands of a good player.
And 𝘂𝗍𝗍 is most certainly a good player. First round of picks sorted, then 𝘀𝗀𝗃, what would you like to be seeing 𝘀𝑠BTC taking away from the side of Cerberus?
I mean, you now need to shoehorn getting some bans against Artemis, because he was absolutely popping off in game 1. The Xayah is already taken out, Jhin is taken away. If he would be an Aphelios player, he could still pick it. There's probably like a Misfortune one coming up, because Misfortune would be like the general next pick in line in the overall ADC tier list that is relevant in the VCS. One reason Aphelios is not in there, but I keep mentioning it. But yeah, I want to target a little bit of another thing. Pan got his Renekton, and they are now banning out the ranged champions from 𝘀𝗀, so he doesn't really get a good early game against him again, because Pan, already in the 𝘁 Renekton matchup, was winning, and I'm not sure if 𝘀𝗀 could do the same in the reverse matchup.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a bit fed up of seeing Jhin versus Misfortune. I want to see some 𝘀𝗿𝗔𝗔 coming in. 𝘀𝗿𝗔𝗔 Thresh is open. Do you think it'd work for Cerberus here?
Yeah, and I actually really agree with SBTC's move to ban supports because Artemis has already pulled out Vayne and Jinx on like R5. The guy's champion pool is really deep, so hitting some of the supports is better. I'm not entirely. I don't think Thresh would have been my angle, but
𝘀𝗿𝗔𝗔.
It's completely fair
hyped.
and opens up things like 𝘀𝗿𝗏𝗏 and Jinx and these big hyper carries that want that extra safety.
I mean, 𝘀𝗀, for me, Artemis is probably my favorite ADC just because he's not playing the Jhin MF. As 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀 highlighted, we've had the Jinx, we've had the Vayne, we had Xayah in the last game. Wait, what did you say?
Watch him pick
MF.
Can we call 𝘁𝗏 in to cast the game then?
I don't know.
The difference is, if he's picking MF, it is a good spot for MF. It must be because you're not saving MF for R5.
For sure, they could have picked MF earlier. I mean, the Thresh wouldn't be taken away.
Imagine if it's Vex bot lane.
That's actually played. I've seen it in German third league. I cast it.
Playable.
It's playable, but you would pick it with Thresh. You would pick it with. I thought with Amumu support, ironically, and with Nautilus Leona, stuff like this. Thresh is a little bit less straightforward for it. Maybe that doesn't work. Is this a Draven locked in? No, it's not.
Is it actually the Draven that we saw?
Well, it could be the Draven, but it could also be 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, MF, or maybe just a powder.
Well, we'll wait and see when it's locked in. 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗏, something I want to throw to you is this 𝘁𝗏, because 𝘁𝗏𝗏's been picked up into Renekton, which is a good matchup for Pan.
Yeah, it's a great lane matchup for the Renekton, but of course 𝘀𝗏𝗏 is going to. It's not bad enough for 𝘀𝗏𝗏 that 𝘁𝗏𝗏 isn't going to reach Camille status eventually as the game progresses. So yeah, they're just sort of saying, look, Cerberus doesn't throw attention to the top lane. If 𝘀𝗏𝗏 can just avoid being solo killed by Pan, or if Penguin makes the way up there to tip it in the favor of the Camille, that's not a bad idea. Gives you a late game and a huge late game side lane threat that can't really be answered by Cerberus.
And 𝘀𝗀, it is a Jinx being locked in. Artemis' second game on the championship so far this week alone. Do you think that Jinx actually has enough escape potential, enough survivability to be able to survive what will be an onslaught from a Camille, an Irelia, a Leona?
If Artemis plays it right, I think he should have, because the Thresh is really helping it out with his Dark Passage, and if he wouldn't be confident, he could have just picked a different AD carry there, but I think the Jinx is really fine here, and yeah, they have Renekton against Camille, they have Vex against Irelia. If the bot lane goes well, they have 3 winning lanes here. I do think they get a little bit outscaled, but I would still favor Cerberus heavily in this draft then, because I don't think that there will be a late game.
𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗏, thoughts on the draft? Who do you think wins?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it sort of go very similar to the first game, where there's definitely opportunities for SBTC to get ahead, but by the same token, Cerberus, if they can get to that late game stage, I even think if they get to the late game stage, Camille won't matter as much compared to the Vex Jinx. And again, I just think overall Cerberus is a better team than SBTC. They're just a better version of the same team. They play the same.
Fair enough. There we go. We heard it from 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗏. A 2-0 for Cerberus on the cards. 𝘀𝗀, do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I'm actually surprised that 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗏 has the late game chances of Cerberus so highly, but I'm flattered to be aware that this might be the way it's going, because I would also predict Cerberus to win this game. And yeah, I also have them on the prediction sheet, which is also very important, of course, because we need to run out the other casters. That's what actually matters here, let's be real.
Can we give them a call out and say who the bad casters are who have predicted a 2-1 or an SBTC win?
I'm not going to look into the sheet now and call people out. I mean, this is my first cast here. I don't want it to be my last one.
Well, I'll do it then. So we've got Clockwork, who thought SBTC were going to win 2-1. Rebel Fox thought it'd be a 2-1. 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 thought it'd be a 2-1 as well. So some questionable decisions from some of our analysts. That is dirty.
Oh, no.
That is really nice from SBTC. And it's going to be first blood going over on 𝘁𝗀𝗀. That's a dirty way to start the game, 𝘀𝗰𝗃.
That really is a dirty way. And maybe 𝘀𝗁𝗺𝗀𝗃, maybe they were right. Maybe at least SBTC takes a game here. If they start with this level 1, it's beautifully done by them with the owner. It can, of course, make something there. And this is phase check by 1OP. I mean, he's a tanky Thresh, but is he really tanky at level 1? He isn't. So,
I mean,
really good punish by them. And yeah, kudos to SBTC. They got the cheese going.
Artemis just winning a 1v2 trade, by the way. Can we just highlight on that?
Yeah, we can. I mean, Artemis is just good. He's a better AD carry of the two. And yeah, he just showed it again. He is a little bit flexing them. Got a 𝘀𝗀𝗀, he was on 0 CS, while the Jhin was on 6 CS. So he focused a lot on the trading and less on the CSing there. Doubt that he missed very much of those.
Well, there we go. And here's a replay. And you can't really blame Cerberus for that. You don't really expect that kind of cheese. And that's why we call it cheese. Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right?
And it is not objectively the correct play to go for.
Okay, Ego's a level up on Penguin, looking to go in. Hookshot comes through, will land onto Ego, but Ego's now just going to duel onto 𝘁𝗀𝗺. Penguin making his way over. Hero and 𝘁𝗀𝗀 also looking to join in the fray. Pun on his way down, and now Cerberus are going to turn their attention towards Hero, who's taking so much damage. This is an 𝘁𝗀𝗀 who got first blood as well, and Cerberus actually come out of this one. I don't know if they come out on top.
Nah, not on top, but even, and they shouldn't have come out even, so maybe it feels like they came out on top of this, because the invade kind of goes wrong there for Ego. He goes for it. The blast plant wasn't really hitting on him. He tried to get it with the Dragon's Rage, with the Dragon Strike, rather, and he kind of landed end to end.
Oh, that's a great death sentence from 1OP. Zenith Blade comes through onto Artemis. It's a support versus ADC combat, and CBL thrown into the walls, but SBTC come out on top. As many people who play in the bot lane will know, Leona will do more damage to your ADC than a Thresh will.
For certain, he will. Of course, especially with Aftershock, right? You get it in, it does so much damage. It's damage that's skillful for resistance. How nice is that? And of course, Thresh, not with the Aftershock, but with the Guardian, is not that much of a damaging champion. But here, Ego, maybe together with 𝘁𝗀𝗀 has a window on Hero there, but the CC is lacking, so he should just be able to walk away.
Can we just mention as well that CS gap that 𝘁𝗀𝗀 has, despite Hero having first blood? Like, what?
Usually I see 𝘁𝗀𝗀s having these kinds of CS leads against their opponent, not the other way around. I'm also really surprised that 𝘁𝗀𝗀 was really outlaning Hero to some extent there. Also, I think Hero missed a wave when he was coming up to help Penguin and 𝘁𝗀𝗀 in the bot lane, or in the blue side skirmish earlier. And that was what punished him ultimately. And yeah, 𝘁𝗀𝗀 has a nice CS lead there. Is really abusing the matchup to a bigger extent than even in the last game.
𝘁𝗀𝗀's been playing well so far on Vex. Maybe Vex will become his new comfort champion. This is already his third game of Vex out of 4 games in total that he has played so far. But remember, it's just that 1 kill for the side of SBTC. We've got Drake up in about 15 seconds time, and Artemis 1OP will be backing after this wave, presumably. So SBTC might be having priority for it, as the 2 top laners duking it out, and 𝘁𝗀𝗀 will come out of that one on top.
Oh yeah, it's actually a little bit worrying that 𝘁𝗀𝗀 is doing this so early to him. It's also a little bit of a freeze here, so Pun can just watch his minions die here and do not more than this. He has a few CS lead to his regard, and the wave will eventually probably even out a little bit more. So he just not takes the time for his shopping timings and gets the first part of his God Ring, which is the pickaxe, of course, and it's that up matched against the Keen for 𝘁𝗀𝗀, and 𝘁𝗁𝗃 having fun in the trades is something that is not a good sign for Cerberus. I mentioned earlier, I think they get a little bit outscaled here because the side laners are that strong on the side of SBTC, but it remains to be seen how it will be in the next few minutes, because around level 6 I expect Pun to have another spike there with the Dominus against Hextech Ultimatum, where he can do much more in the 1v1.
And again, that Hextech Ultimatum helps you to lock someone down, but when that person that you're locking down is stronger than you, it doesn't really help too much. Vanguard's Edge coming through. Ego will flash the dash.
Oh, he missed
forward.
the W.
He did, and Ego will be able to run out of that one to safety.
Yeah, it's called watch out Eve, not for show, because he watched out, and that's why he could escape there. Another yeah. Another 2v2 trade here, and it's looking good for the Jinx. I mean, she's scaling up nicely against this Jhin, and is surprisingly having a lot of priority here, but with the extended range with the rocket launch, it's probably doable. but
Okay,
if the knife
okay.
coming-
Ego's making his way down. We've got a teleport in as well. The flame comes through. Ron will flash. He tanks 2 tower shots. He's ignited down. He's dying. He will die, but surely CBL will fall as well. Come on. No, Ego.
Yes.
Okay, Yana gets the
Nice.
kill with the I forget what the Q is called. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Emperor picks up a kill onto Buns. The kills all around the map. We are back into true VCS territory.
Mistful Bolt, by the way, is what the Q is
Mistful
called.
Bolt.
Anyway, was a very expensive trade, I would say, for Cerberus, because they expanded the TP for the 2-for-1 in the bot lane. Meanwhile, they lost Pun in the top side for that. It's a Camille having a little edge against the Renekton, which is something that is always worrisome. So I would say at the end of the day, good trade for SBTC, actually. If it wouldn't be for the top lane kill, it would be a little bit more evened out, but like this, it definitely favors them a little bit. And gotta say though, if you have Artemis ahead against Celebrity, that's also not a bad thing at all. So it's a little bit less black and white than I would initially assume.
Run, Penguin, run, as the members of Cerberus try to collapse on top. There's a 1k goal lead for the side of SBTC currently, as we get a replay of what happened here in the top lane.
That's what happened top lane. I mean, there's very few vision that Pun is here, is what the Cerberus are showing us here. It was him
Fighting
going
in
for a
such
solo
huge
kill.
Wave.
He's so cocky. And he's not
Such a
even getting
massive
solo
wave.
kills. Yeah, it was just probably the swirl seed coming out from Penguin there. Or maybe he dove him with the wave together and got the W on. Meanwhile, we see that was literally the same time as the bot lane dive happened. And Pun, yeah, he's just food there. He cannot do anything. He also got away from the turret for some reason, which I do not understand. They aren't even tanking aggro that much. Only Penguin takes 1 turret shot there. I think if he stays on turret and is just nice and not naughty, he just maybe takes 1 back or just survives it.
And Pun picks up the tower plate with a final auto of the minion in the wave. He'll push another wave in and then presumably back after that point. 3 kills to 2, a 200 goal lead for the side of SBTC Esports. And they aren't doing as well in the early game as they were doing in Game 1. And considering how far behind Cerberus were when they made their comeback, you'd have to think Cerberus and Cerberus fans will be fairly happy with the game state.
I mean, happy is a relative term. I would still not be happy in general if you are down in the early game against a team that this time scales a lot better than last time, I would say, because last time it was a little bit less black and white that one team outscaled. This time I think SBTC is very fine with these split pushers, I would say, and the damage mix also makes a lot of sense. The Lilia doesn't need to snowball as much as an Echo would do, because she always has her percentage P damage that scales very nicely into everything. Even if the enemy gets tanky, you do more damage to them through that passive. And Herald is not done by SBTC, but Cerberus, they also are 3-man strong.
Mega Death Rocket! Oh, swiping past. That got smited down. I don't quite know who got it.
Penguin.
Side of Cerberus, no, they don't have it. Vanguard's edge onto 2 members. Penguin flashing forward, going to be able to find some damage. The flag is dropped, but there is no drag, and Hero will be able to get 1 kill, and just 1 kill in the fight, or maybe a second, as Punt is getting run down. Penguin won't be able to find the slows, won't be able to get enough movement speed, and SBTC will have to content themselves with just picking up the Rift Herald and 1 kill.
I mean, that's kind of a decent trade, I would say. I mean, you lose absolutely nothing, you get a Rift Herald and a kill. It's the first Herald, which also gets plating money. Seems pretty worth for me, I would say. Penguin wins the Smite 50-50 there, and also a cute fight by SBTC there. This Mega Death Rocket hit neither the Herald nor the champion, so he couldn't go for a steal there, and also the damage was kind of lacking there on their side, and the 3v3 was just better played by them. So they reward themselves with this. Here we see it again. It's 3 members from both sides. And yeah. It just misses, and good smite here by Penguin, of course. And now see what happened there. It was Lilting Lullaby casted, so Ego gets denied here, and the Vanguard's edges there. Also, CBL, they're earlier than 1 OP, so there's a little bit of a delay. The Dark Passage doesn't really get to do anything when the jungler is asleep. He cannot really click the lantern there, so yeah. Good pickup here by SBTC, and exactly what they would like to have when they are that much ahead in the early game, and can even extend this lead a little bit more.
So far, so good for SBTC. The goal lead only a few hundred, but we have a Drake up on the map. It has been on the map for a little while now as well. And maybe SBTC can use advantage, or use the advantage of having the Rift Herald to get themselves some priority before heading towards Drake's Pun. I don't think you want to be playing that aggressively, mate. There's a Hextech ultimatum, and once you're locked down, you are not going to be able to run away.
Yeah, and he's maybe also feeling that he's might getting outscaled in this matchup. If you see Camille already doing very well against him, he doesn't even need an Ignite to win this here. Maybe with Dominus he has an edge again. He maybe needs to hit like a slice and dice here, get a good 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 Predator stun onto him, and then maybe this now
Pun
the
wants to
window
go
is for him.
in. Oh, he cancels the hook shot, and now 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀, he's got the adaptive defenses, goes in with the Hextech ultimatum. Pun flashes forward, picks up the kill, and walks out of tower range. A good solo kill for the Cerberus top lane, and meanwhile in the bottom lane is a good death sentence, a flay into the traps. CBL will flash out of the Cataclysm. It's 2 kills across the map for Cerberus.
And you watch away for 10 seconds and suddenly Cerberus is in control of the game again. They win on both sides of the map here. 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 dies just as I basically pre-told it, so he should definitely know better as a pro player how to get away of this Renekton all in here. Meanwhile in the bottom lane, good chompers into death sentence here, done by the bot lane here. Also Ego being around helps to get another flash out here to follow it up with the Cataclysm. This should be the first dragon for Cerberus, maybe, but they decide against it. Are just happy that they just got back into the game, considering the gold, and Penguin indeed gets the dragon. And here we see the 1v1 solo kill again by Pun. Both use their flash here. It was just a slice, 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 Predator stun. 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 gets stuck there a little bit. Can manage to flash onto the turret, but Pun also has his flash, and with the Dominus bonus HP, he manages to survive. Their Triumph also played a part here. Beautifully done by Ego. Double dragon strike, also with a flash death sentence, and Chomper's just ready for it. And TP comes too late there. Hero uses his one there. Maybe a dive in the bot lane.
Maybe, but at the end, it will just be the Thresh giving the Lantern out to safety. And the side of Cerberus will back away. This could be first tower of the game. Cerberus will content themselves with that. Currently, the gold practically dead even between the two sides.
Yeah, dead even, and the Ocean Drake got to SBTC as Cerberus was a bit too hesitant to go for this. Maybe even understandable considering they use a lot of resources to get the bot lane kills earlier. But the bot lane skirmish was actually huge for Cerberus, I would say, because he will also use TP there, and considering that was more of a waste for him, it manages to hurt SBTC quite frankly. And we also see why Cerberus is a little bit more resounded, I would say. You know,
the Cataclysm, 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀.
But not more than that.
Yeah, Hookshot not finding the wall, and Ego will just waltz his way out.
I think many VCS teams would just die to the bot lane dive that was attempted by SBTC earlier, but Cerberus bot lane knew better. They used 1 OP as a Dark Passage way out for Artemis there. If the dive happens, he can just Dark Passage him out. If not, then Artemis just gets the farm there. So they had both options ready for them. Like this, they lose some blittings to the Herald charge, which was inevitable anyway. But at least like this, they can survive the 2v2, and now they're getting
for the CC. Penguin coming from behind as well. Artemis just wants to get 1 kill, just wants to be able to get the resets.
Gets it.
But gets the resets. Now can he find more? My screen has frozen, but it comes back, and all of a sudden it is Pun in the middle of 3 people. Deadly flourish onto Bo. What can he find? That's damage, but can he get onto Celebrity? No, he cannot. SBTC come out on top, and the Shadow Surge almost sniping down the SBTC ADC.
And that was so close because Pun, with his Dominus AoE damage, was almost able to finish off CBL and Penguin there. Both survived just with a sliver, and if he gets 1 kill there, maybe if he has Triumph, he can actually kill both there. But like this, he was just kited out well by 3 members from SBTC. Also good gank attainment there onto Artemis at 1 OP. Artemis, in his stat, of course, with the great player, he manages to trade kill 1 back kill here. And like this, it's not that much of a horrible trade for them, but here we see it again. Curtain covers used, and Penguin just flanks with the Lilia here, but takes a lot of damage. CBL takes even more, and Artemis gets 1 kill there. If he would be more fat, he can maybe clean them up all, but like this, it's a little bit too early into the game. So Artemis gets 1 kill here. It's 2 kills overall on the side of SBTC. They use a lot of it though, so Artemis is good. I mean, he just makes these trades not a disaster for them. And if it's played a little bit better or a little bit more luck involved, I would say, for Cerberus, they even turn this skirmish around.
There is always a slight element of luck. You can't calculate everything to a T. I doubt Penguin said, oh yes, when Pun uses the slice and dice, I'm going to be on 5 HP, perfectly calculated. It's just sometimes how games do turn out.
They keep diving.
They are, and this time Penguin misses both his abilities on Pun. The Blooming Blows, not quite going to be able to add the stack of Dream Dust, as I like to call it, on to the Renekton. And Artemis and 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 just pushing in the top lane as Rift Herald is started by Ego.
Yeah, they couldn't really dive Pun there. I mean, he sidestepped both skill shots from Lilia, which is one thing, but there also was no wave really there. Also, Celebrity couldn't land his Deadly Flourish there, so there was no way to lock down the Renekton. This way, he survived there. They get the turret eventually, but also drop on the top side.
There's a Lantern, but you can't take a Lantern when you are locked down. A Solar Flare on top. You can run Okay, I don't know where I was going with that, but he tries to run, he tries to hide, but no, he's turning it around. Hero goes in with the Vanguard's edge. Cataclysm, people blow out of the Cataclysm. I don't know quite what's going on, but SBTC get quite a few kills, and they might get another one. Flag and drag over the wall, but the flash over from Penguin. Watch out, Ego over the wall, running for the hills, but Penguin has the movement speed. Deadly Flourish, Ego needs to sidestep. Flags and drags get sniped, doesn't get tagged by the bowling ball. And Ego just about stays alive.
And it's a small disaster for Cerberus, let's be honest. They lost 3 kills. They kept baiting themselves in there with their reset champions. They didn't quite have the damage to finish one of the targets off, so they ended up finishing 0 targets off. They all just died in the aftermath. They could have just let one OP die there, or just let Artemis at least die there, because he got cancelled with the Dark Passage by the Hexi Ultimatum walls, who are really ultimate in this regard. And yeah, just let Artemis die there.
It was so greedy by Artemis.
Just one catch. Okay, yeah, that, first of all, that. And next of all, one OP could just run. He chooses to go back in here. Yeah, he tried. He good flavor him. And also the box that buys him a lot of time. And now they all choose to go back in. They could just take the blastman out right here. Maybe they need to drop Ego. Maybe they need to drop...
Who hits the blast cone?
Yeah, they are just imposters. I don't know. They go for the fight half-heartedly, and that is what ultimately was their demise. And now it's suddenly almost a 3k gold lead for SBTC, which is completely unnecessary. It could have been just 2 kills. They end up making it 3. It also blow very many cooldowns there that shouldn't have been blown.
Okay, so far this game looks like it's going a little bit better for SBTC than it did in the previous game. Good death sentence. Was that QSS by Hero? So I thought it landed onto the Aurelia, but then I saw the Aurelia dashing around, so I'm not too sure.
Should have been. I mean, she got the chunk. She's still only on 60% HP. It should have been her. And yeah, she must have a QSS because there is no cleanse in her inventory. Get rid of it. Maybe when we see the scoreboard again, we can have another look at that. And now the
either way,
push comes maybe in, but they might translate it to the Infernal Drake. And yeah, Drake's soul sticking might be a win con for SBTC in this game. Last game it didn't quite work out for them, but they also had a lead like this in this game. And force.
Oh, that's a death sentence. That's a death sentence onto Aurelia, and it is a dead deer. Deary me, as a flash out of the Shadow Surge from Hero. Cerberus find the pick, and Cerberus will be getting the outer tower in the mid lane. They're going to drop Rift Herald, but the tower will already be taken, and I think that Rift Herald placement might have been a little bit off, but Cerberus are going to keep on charging forward as they look to take a 2-0. They've got a Drake up as well in the form of an Infernal, only the second Drake of the game overall, with that first Drake being secured by SBTC, but the push keeps on coming through. The Flash, the Cull, the Meek on the top, and the Aurelia is going to dash in, dash out, dash all about, but will die nonetheless. An Ignite ticking down, and it will be Yado who falls. Curtain Call does work. 𝘀𝗶𝗴 onto the backline, but the rest of the team just aren't there. The burn is coming through. It's a 4-man sleep. A great death sentence from 𝘀𝗀, but is it enough? Penguin's chance to pop off. The blooming blows are coming through. The bowling ball and the stun. SBTC turn things around. A flash forward. The Thresh can run, but the Thresh can't hide. Penguin turns the fight, and Penguin puts SBTC Esports out on top.
And I was about to congratulate Cerberus for doing a clean snowball one. They have a little edge against the enemy team as they force CBL's flash, as they get the kill with the death sentence there, and then do a beautiful Herald push to get 2 or even 3 turrets. But then they overstay themselves and throw the lead right back onto SBTC, give them the Drake, give them another turret, because Penguin is just untouched there. It was nicely played by Artemis there to get the restart onto CBL, but they just need to run. They just overstay their welcome so much. Yeah, just do this charge, get the turret down, and then just run. I mean, you don't need to force anymore. You just got back into the game, got back to even gold. Could maybe take the Drake on the way out even, and now they just keep forcing it. Now they get hookshotted in by the Camille. Vex is down, so only Artemis is there for the reset. He gets actually ultimatumed here by the Camille, gets the kill.
So
now is the point where you could maybe run, but it was already too late. Little Thing was intact, and just run after the turret, honestly.
Yep. They tried. In fact, actually, if Punt didn't take that lantern, one of them probably would have escaped. It was because they were both together, they both got slowed, and then Penguin was able to follow up. But, okay, it's a 1k gold advantage for SBTC. Never mind, we got more fights happening. Hook shot away. That's going to be the slow coming through. Flash over the wall from Yado. Solar Flare on top, but no follow-up. Deadly Flourish, and that Vex just cannot move, is not allowed to set up an ult, set up a play 2 Drakes for 𝘀𝑠BTC, but this game is dead even, right? 1k gold at 21 minutes doesn't really matter at this point. All that matters is where is the gold. It's on Penguin, it's on Ego. We're still waiting for Artemis to get really far ahead. And honestly, who takes this game is anyone's bet right now.
It definitely is. I mean, it's 1k gold, it's 2 Drakes. Both not really influential on its own, and it's a small lead for the team. We would expect to be the worst team here, and it's really not clear at all who takes the game here. Also, hate to be that guy, but 𝘀𝗀, this game on Vex hasn't been landing the shadow switches as much, and if he would, maybe there would have been more resets coming on from this way. But I gotta say, even without this, it's still a very close game in Cerberus. I think with the way they have been playing yesterday, the way they pulled away game 1 earlier today, and I think they should have this.
I think 𝘀𝗀 has been playing very well on the Thresh. He's been finding some fantastic death sentence, some great flays as well, and he's been really clutch for Cerberus so far in this game.
For sure. I mean, his death sentence were all really on point. He also had multiple great dark passages where he could save Artemis, who tends to be very trigger happy, as just now again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and Artemis.
As long as Artemis remembers, if he gets ulted down by a 𝘁𝗃, he can't take the lantern. So don't respect the 𝘁𝗃. Everyone else you can disrespect right now.
Yeah, respect the 𝘁𝗃 at all costs. She has an ultimate that is really deserving its name, its ultimate. You cannot really dash out of it at all. You cannot flash out of it, and that's why she's such a good pick against this 𝘀𝗃. But yeah, as long as 𝘁𝗃 is not in range of her at all, even with the double hook shot, he should be more or less fine on this. And I gotta say, after this game 1 performance, Artemis definitely deserves a support like 𝘀𝗀 on this Thresh that definitely does everything to protect him. Because Artemis, he's not for no reason on a hyper carry here, and will be set up to carry this game at the later stages. He's almost done with Infinity H2, which would be his 3-item power spike with the 60% crit. And considering DPS, he definitely outvalues the 𝘁 massively at that point, because 𝘁 only on 2 items on his regard. He's definitely still on this mid-game power spike, and compared to a 𝘀𝗃, you definitely fall off.
Okay, we've got an engage. Penguin's already been sniped down, and now we've got the reset for Artemis. Deadly Flourish will lock Artemis down, and it will just be the 1 kill for the side of Cerberus. But that's the jungler down. There's no smite for 𝘀𝑠BTC. Cerberus can look towards the Baron.
This might definitely be the Baron for them, or at least at start of the Baron and force a TP out of 𝘀𝗀 or of Hero to get them close to their side. But no, they don't even start this one. I wonder why they don't even...
trying to pretend that they're on Baron and then collapse in mid lane?
Maybe this is what they are going for. I would at least have liked to see a Baron start there and see what would be the reaction out of 𝘀𝑠BTC. And
Okay,
now they maybe
now.
do it. Now that the death time was almost one out of Penguin though, so I think that they could have just immediately done this and their play would have been even stronger like this. I mean, they just let 𝘁𝗃 on the island there and give a little bit more time to recover from it. And Penguin just now has respawned, and yeah, the Baron implant looks really dull now.
This doesn't make sense from Cerberus. They waited, and now there's a huge wave crashing in the bottom lane. Pun didn't get any of the goal. They wanted him to walk up. Cerberus had a big window, and maybe this is a case of once bitten, twice shy. They thought they got too greedy in the mid lane. Well, they did get too greedy in the mid lane, and they don't want to get too greedy again. But here's a replay, and again, all started by 𝘀𝗀 with a death sentence.
Definitely, 𝘀𝗀 really wants to win death sentence again from him, and with this vision setup, you can definitely go for these hooks. It was basically just him fishing, and Penguin just happened to bite the bait there, and just fell for the death sentence from him, and just a free pick for them. I am a little bit sad that Cerberus couldn't do more of it, because I'm used to them really pulling the lead highly when they get a little edge on the map, but like this, at least they equalize the gold lead completely. I mean, there's no gold lead at all. It's now for 𝘀𝑠BTC, and it's just the 2 Drakes. Mountain Drake just now spawning up. Maybe this is something that Cerberus considers contesting now, because while they have like the top laner that gets outscaled in the side lane, Renekton in teamfights still a very strong presence.
Drake has been started down to 6,000 HP. All 5 members from both teams are here. 𝘀𝗀 just pushing in the mid lane, does have the ultimate available with the Shadow Surge, but look at 𝘀𝗀 trying to come on in from behind. 2,000 HP. Pun trying to go over the wall. Well, will he go over? He's not locked down by the flawless duet. That's a curtain call. In goes 𝘀𝗀, trying to find the lockdown. Someone goes golden. That's Artemis, but a fair amount of damage coming from the curtain call. And now Hero looks over to 𝘀𝗀. It's a 2v4. Meanwhile, Ego's gonna get wiped, and 𝘀𝑠BTC will dominate Cerberus in the fight. It's a triple kill for 𝘀𝗀, and 𝘀𝑠BTC can turn their attention towards the Baron Nashor.
And why do you even take this fight, Cerberus? You just got the Drake in the Drake flip there, and then you pull in Pun, who has already used his dominance and tries to body block the most of the Jhin shots, but doesn't manage to block the shot that ends up killing 1OP. Thresh's protection is down, and Artemis is an easy target for the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC, and they just can't keep getting killed there. It's a 4-for-0 for them. They lose the Drake, but they likely get the Baron and a huge swing in gold with this, and this is the thing that gives them control of the game, and this is something that was not needed at all by Cerberus.
Okay, so let's essentially break down that fight. What went wrong for the side of Cerberus? What do they need to be doing in future fights to not lose fights?
1. If you get what you wanted, you just run. I mean, there was just nothing to take from there. I mean, they can take fights when they get a good pick with the death sentence from 1OP, which also happens every 2 or 3 minutes because 1OP is having a great game, but they just take fights they don't really need to take.
Why doesn't Pons go in?
Why doesn't?
He takes so long.
He goes in now and tries to body block shots, but now when he actually should block a shot, he just doesn't do it. 1OP just dies, and now they're... Ego is like, I'm Jarvan, I'm helping, locks him up in the Cataclysm. The Renekton doesn't really get to shine in this fight, and there's also not really a threat really onto Celebrity. He has his flash up, he has his heal up, he was not really contested in this fight at all. The Jhin just gets to shoot for free there, and now, yeah, 3k gold lead for 𝘀𝑠BTC. Baron buff also on top of them for 2 more minutes, and everyone on the team has them. And Baron buff with split pushers is so disgusting to play against, and I wonder if Cerberus still has an ace up their sleeves because they maybe need it.
Well, 3k gold separating the two sides. Artemis is getting stronger and stronger. Ego, need to be careful there. You've been spotted out by a ward. Will be able to clear that. Had Renekton shadowing on the southern side. All the while, 𝘀𝑠BTC just pushing in the bottom lane. Baron buff for another 1.5 minutes. 𝘀𝑠BTC currently in control. It's not huge control of the game, but it is control. We've got 3 items now on Artemis.
Oh, they got edge.
That's the engage. Vanguard's edge. The slow is massive. Ego's going to be able to take the flag and drag out, but Yada's forced to go golden, and he's going to die as soon as he comes out of stasis. It's another kill for 𝘀𝑠BTC. You can see how low Penguin has got, but Cerberus unable to find a kill in the trade.
Yeah, Cerberus killers get dived by this Vanguard's edge on the side of Hero on his Aurelia, and Penguin also with the Lilting Lullaby can buy so much time offensively for them, and this is why Cerberus cannot really take any fight here. They need to drop a lot of structures here to even have a chance to come back in this game. 𝘀𝑠BTC maybe getting caught.
Yes, the Cataclysm is dropped. The inhibitor tower still exists in the bottom lane. 1OP with the Flay under tower. The side of Cerberus won't be able to find anything more. For 𝘀𝑠BTC, it will be an inhibitor in the mid lane in the game. Now we're at a point where if the 𝘀𝑠BTC win another fight, it will be a game over. For the side of Cerberus, 1OP is going to be able to land a death sentence. That's a big box, but is it enough? He flashes away, but he ends up getting tagged by the Defiant Dance. Pun still alive. 3-man solar flare coming on in for 𝘀𝑠BTC. They're looking for 𝘀𝑠BTC. The zap comes through. Yada picks up the kill onto the Camille, and it is a 1-for-1. Top laner for support. What can Cerberus look for? Do they get greedy? Do they look for too much? They're just going to clear away the waves in their base, and that's all that they can do.
And they cannot really do more, as you said. I mean, they got the kill into 𝘀𝑠BTC because he couldn't really dodge the zap at the end of the fight here by Artemis, which was well played by him, but Cerberus is just not looking really able to do anything if they are behind against this comp, because they just can keep getting dove by the Aurelia, by the owner. They are also like really tanky on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC, so there's not really much to do against them. Yado never really found the impact he had in game 1 with the 𝘀𝑠BTC. He also keeps missing shadow surges, which is not really helping his case. And the Renekton, I mean, he is a good team fighter, but he is now in the mid game, 30 minutes in on, I think, 2 items is what he is at, and he doesn't really have that much impact here. He is not really the pick that scales well into this game, right? And there's just so much answers on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC against their comp.
Don't forget, this is the game between the 2 teams at the top of the standings. Both teams winning their opening games of the week and looking to go 2-0 in the standings. Cerberus, they were only able to go 2-1 over GAM. 𝘀𝑠BTC taking a 2-0 win against Team Secret. They lost the first game, and right now they are fighting for their lives. They are fighting for the series. Cerberus can afford, technically, to lose this game, but they will try everything that they can to keep this game alive. As now the third Drake of the game will be started by the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC. It's not a soul, but it will be a third Drake, and it will take 𝘀𝑠BTC on to soul point.
And it's another mountain Drake, so it helps their cases considering the resistances, which is something especially the research champions struggle with on the side of Cerberus, with the Jinx, with the Vex, with to some extent with the Renekton too, because he also relies on getting maybe a kill early to have like an advantageous fight at this point of the game, because he's really not that fat compared to the 𝘀cie. He's 2 levels down by now. Cannot really do the 1v1 against, and also cannot really teamfight well, because by now 𝘀cie on 2 items is starting to get a little bit tanky with the death sense as well, and it's not really easy to fight against this on the side of Cerberus, and it's sole point now for 𝘀𝗀𝐶. Inhibitors are still down, so there's a lot of map control for them, and they also likely pursue the next Baron, which will spawn in 1 minute, and I would be really shocked if they drop the map control on this thing. And the thing is also, Cerberus got their picks with 1 OP on his Dark Passages earlier, and when you are behind, the Thresh doesn't really find the openings for this, because the vision control is also not there.
Absolutely. And right now we're at a stage in the game, 6k gold or not. If either side can get a good engage, if either side can get a good fight, they can win. This isn't a case of Cerberus or 6k gold down, they're out of this completely. It is still tight. The team fight, whichever fight it will be that determines this game, will still be a relatively close fight.
And also the problem I see with Cerberus is what 𝘁𝗀𝗻 has here. He is on 4 items. He's very, very strong considering with damage output with the Infinity Edge with the Kraken Slayer, but he permanently has to fear the 𝘀cie going in, the EL going in, and now maybe it's a Hail Mary play.
Teleport flank, 2 teleports coming in. What do Cerberus look for? Because now there's teleport in from Hero, and Cerberus have decided, okay, we need to run out of this one. Now 𝘀𝗀𝗻 is on a flank. He's going to be able to take the Lantern out to safety. There is no more lilting lullaby for the side of 𝘀𝗀𝐶. That's a big ult down for 𝘀𝗀𝐶, and there is a Baron up as well. That's what 𝘀𝗀𝐶 will turn towards, and I'm not sure if Cerberus will look to contest it.
They probably won't. I mean, they just now did the Hail Mary play with the double TP, and they saw that 𝘀𝗀𝐶 would have been ready for it, so they decided against it and just won with the tail between their legs, and now they give away the Baron somewhat for free. The Baron will translate into a potential ocean, or mountain soul rather, for 𝘀𝗀𝐶, and the game looks really good. I remember you tackling this in the draft phase, where you were asking if Artemis on his Jinx can really pull it up against the Irelia, against the Leona, against the Lilia, against everyone diving onto him, and the answer likely looks to be no. He can't.
At the moment, he can't, and as we already discussed, you can't take a Thresh Lantern out. You can see that hexagon, or I don't know how many sides there are to that shape, but there are crystals around Artemis, and that signifies the fact that he's got a Guardian Angel. That means you kill him, he ain't dead. It's almost like a Chemtech Rift, just that you can't do spells while you're in GA. Do you actually remember back when there was that bug with Viego and Samira or something, that Samira would ult, and if she died...
Samira GA. Yeah.
Samira GA, yeah.
It was also in VCS, right? And I think a team lost the game because of this and then tilted out of the face of the earth.
I know it happened to Fnatic, but Fnatic won the game anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, it was upset. Yeah, true. Yeah. It was also this summer, right?
Yes, I believe it was in summer. I believe it was caused by Viego being in the game or something. As Viego tended
then VCS was like, hey, let's do it as well, and then some problems happened apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Cerberus defending. 𝘀𝗀𝐶 pushing in the top lane. This is their second Baron of the game. Will it be their last Baron? Will it be the last play of the game?
It probably will, because you need to defend the third inhibitor. If you just drop this one, you just get overly pushed out by 6 super minion waves which are coming in instead of 2. So the third inhibitor is much more valuable than the other 2, and you already dropped one of them, and you probably need to have your last stand before that.
Okay, they're going in. They're looking for the 3 members on the top side of the map. That's going to be the ult coming on in from the Vex, but is it enough damage? Solar Flare being dropped down. Penguin goes golden, and Cerberus are going to be wiped. 𝘀𝗀𝐶 will take the fight. 𝘁𝗀𝗻𝗋 locked down. 𝘁𝗀𝗋 taken down. He's got the Guardian Angel, but he will just respawn into his death. 𝘀𝗀𝗶 will take down Cerberus. The team that took down 𝘀𝗀𝗋 will lose 1 game to 𝘀𝗀𝗶, who will take us to game 3.
Yeah, and deservedly so, because that was just too much on the side of Cerberus when they had like this overstayed limit in the inhibitor. This will probably bite them a little bit in the butt when they think ahead of the next game, because they really shouldn't have been in the next game here. And yeah, right now they are probably suffering a lot from that. And yeah, gotta give kudos to 𝘀𝗀𝐶 though, who really pushed the lead well when they finally had a decent run after they got the 4-0 fight plus the Baron. And yeah, Cerberus never really recovered from that.
Well, on that note, we're going to be jumping on into a short break, and when we return, we will be having our third and final game between 𝘀𝗀𝐶 Esports and Cerberus. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks. We're getting ready to jump on in to our third game between 𝘀ecie Esports and Cerberus. And I think I need to start off straight away by issuing an apology to all of the casters and analysts that predicted a 2-1 win for the side of 𝘀ecie, or for the side of Cerberus, because, yeah, 𝘀ecie took a game, and I'm wrong. I am an inferior predictor, as is 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 and 𝘀cie as well, technically.
Just throw us under the bus too.
Yeah.
You're the only one who picked it up.
I'm dragging you down with me, but we're in this together. But 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹, what was your thoughts on that game? Because it was close.
It was really close, but there was one thing that sort of rose its head in the 𝘀𝗀 series that, again, rose its head here. Cerberus are really bad at setting up objective vision. In the 𝘀𝗀 series, it led to the most ridiculous Baron steal that 𝘀𝗀 never should have had a look into. In this one, it meant they completely lost all track of 𝘀𝗀 in their own side of the map, in their own jungle, the red side jungle, and 𝘀𝗀 is able to just walk down and jump straight onto 𝘁𝗀, who was your main focus of the of the team. And then that snowballs into the Baron, and then a bunch of other stuff happens. There was that, of course, beautiful 4-man sleep by Penguin. And so that just, it all comes down to this, but vision. Yeah, vision is the main thing. Set up your objectives, please.
So with that, we're expecting 𝘁𝗀 to be locking in Ashe for this game. We are jumping into picks and bans. And on the topic of 𝘁𝗀, 𝘀𝗀, I'm not a fan of the Jinx. I much preferred it when he played the Vayne or he played the Xayah, because I think he's got tools to actually be able to set up and not rely on the rest of his team. And I'm not saying 𝘁𝗀's bad. I thought 𝘁𝗀 was the best player for the side of Cerberus in that game, but I would just like 𝘁𝗀 to have a bit of self-dependency almost.
Yeah, maybe, and I think that 𝘀ecie kind of agrees that because they banned the Xayah out at the first rotation ban for them. I mean, they really respect his Xayah, and I'm looking forward to it. Maybe they give him the Vayne again this game, or something a little bit more with self-agency, because Lucian is something he also isn't getting, because Lucian Nami you have to, of course, to ban out, and likely I expect a Yuumi ban now. And it's kind of bizarre, because last game, I mean, this game should have been in the back for Cerberus. They were ahead, they had the vision setup done with 𝘀𝗀, but they still managed to lose track of it, as 𝘀𝗀 said countless times just now, and maybe they pick away the Camille the first pick. Yuumi is open. How is Yuumi open?
Yuumi is open. How is Yuumi open? Because people forgot to close, what is it, the cat flap. So Yuumi can still sneak through if she so desires. Now, the Irelia was banned away from Hero, and we know how Hero is effectively a top laner, filling in the mid lane for Artifact. But now that Irelia's gone, I'm curious what he's going to play, because in the past, he's looked towards stuff like the set, which, in my opinion, isn't as great in this mid lane, Marty.
No, it's not, but there's, again, there are lots of different options available. If the Akali is being hovered, I don't expect it to really go that direction, but I don't necessarily think because of that focus, you really need to be worried about Hero. Again, he has a weird champion pool. Vladimir does still always exist that he could reach into. If I'm Cerberus, I'm much more focused on getting just strong matchups that will work into everything. Things like the Syndra, I would definitely be okay with seeing Yado on something like that. Leona, pick up a strong AD carry as well. I wouldn't even mind seeing 𝘁𝗀 on the MF, just so you have like a safe thing to start with, and you can build upon it depending on what the rest of the comp is for jungle mid.
𝘁𝗀 is one of the few players in the VCS yet to play Misfortune this split so far. As I said before, I'm not a huge fan of the Misfortune Chin meta. I mean, it's pretty good, but just seeing it every game gets a bit boring. But once again, Yado looks towards this Vex. He's becoming a bit of a connoisseur of it. Game 1, he absolutely popped off on it, 𝘀𝗀. Game 2, not quite as good.
Yeah, game 2, much less so. I mean, he was kind of unlucky in some of his Shadow Surge engages, where I was like just missing the initial bolt, and then you cannot really do anything with the pick, because you tend to stay far away of the enemy team because of the range, and then you also don't want to be too close to the enemy unless you manage to fear them. So he was in a bit of an awkward spot there, didn't really get any resets going, and this ultimately cost them much. And I wonder if they just go for the double reset party again with the 𝘀𝗰𝗋, but with the Leona pick locked in, I sincerely doubt it, and I also wouldn't recommend it to them because 𝘀𝗰𝗋 without protection, something I'm even less of a fan of than the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 we saw last game with them. I mean, the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 Flash was okay, but with Leona, certainly pick something else. Pick some ADC that can protect himself a little bit and also maybe is a bit more on the burst side. Ironically, this time, yeah, Misfortune would make a lot of sense, even though it would be quite boring, as you said before.
Now, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, 𝘀𝗋𝗋 locked in. Where is that 𝘀𝗋𝗋 going? Is it going into the Vex? Is it going into the Command?
God, I have no idea. It doesn't really feel like a hero champion, so I would lean towards Enter, and I'm going to be vindicated immediately with the pickup of the 𝘁𝗀. Granted, this is still technically flexible, but I would most likely expect 𝘁𝗀 mid 𝘁𝗋.
Okay, well, let's see how things do pan out. Currently, I would definitely have to agree with you on that one, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, and think that the 𝘀𝗋𝗋 is going into the mid lane. 𝘂ego getting picked up, and once again, we're seeing from 𝘀𝗀 waiting to take that ADC pick right at the end. What would you like to see coming in, 𝘀𝗰𝗋?
What would I like to see? I mean, ADCs I mentioned before. I mean, the Vex bot lane is something we didn't entertain much, and with the Leona, it's actually kind of possible, but I would much rather see the Misfortune here for Artemis. He is a good AD carry. He could maybe also go towards the Vayne here. We know that the Vayne doesn't actually sound that bad, but yeah, MF is the safer option. You are in a game 3. If you drop another game out of cockiness, you have given up serious points, and this is something you definitely do not want if you have any aspirations to become a top team. They won against 𝘀𝗋 on the first game day, and they certainly do not want to drop any unnecessary series here. So pick the MF, go with the safe option, and just close the game out with your individual powers.
Now, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, that is a 𝘁𝗋𝗋 being locked in, and this time I'm actually very excited to see it on the Rift. How impactful do you think this 𝘁𝗋𝗋 is going to be with the composition that SBTC have locked in?
I think it could be very impactful. This is the sort of a weird angle where I would almost like to see a Shirelia's 𝘁𝗋𝗋, because the entire top side of the map is just going to be trying its best to kill Artemis. All 3 of these guys are going straight in, and giving that little buff movement speed is always nice. Of course, we'll have the Nature's Grasp do that to sort of do a similar thing. But overall, yeah, it's a very simple composition from SBTC. It all lines up beautifully. 4 of them go straight in and try to kill the backline, while 𝘁𝟏 just tries to stay as far away as he can and throw bullets in with the ultimate.
Well, let's see how things do pan out. We are about to jump on into game. 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀, final thought. Who do you think takes the final game?
The composition is much easier for SBTC to execute, bar 𝘀𝗋𝗋 being a sort of weaker champion, so there is something drawing me to them, but I don't want to count 𝘀𝗀 out entirely, so I'm going to go with my initial prediction, say 𝘀𝗀 again.
Okay, 𝘀𝗀 and 𝘀𝗀𝗃?
I would also go to 𝘀𝗀, but not just because of better draft, because I think the draft actually isn't better. SBTC has a much easier to execute comp. 𝘁𝗋𝗋 is not that difficult to land a Twisted Advance because it's just a point-and-click spell. I also like 𝘁𝗀 into Vex and into MF and Leona because there's so many good ultimates to steal. Gotta say, 𝘀𝗀 are the better players. Their draft is also more than fine for them, and I think 𝘀𝗀 has it in the game 3. They are not bound to drop a series here tonight.
Okay, 𝘀𝗀 then to go 2-0 from our analyst. Into a game we go. Game 3, SBTC against 𝘀𝗀, and we are going to be kicking things off with a late invade. Well, not a late invade, an invade. Who comes out from... Oh my god, the missile ball is disgusting from 𝘀𝗀. Flash forward, instant cleanse from 𝘀𝗀, and he will be able to walk his way out, but it is 𝘀𝗀 Esports who get 2 kills right from the get-go.
And SBTC is probably already like, can we go game 4, guys? And then somebody has to tell them, there is no game 4. This is a deciding game. And yeah, you shouldn't do a level 1 fight against the Vex like this. I mean, I like the 𝘁𝗋 last game did to catch up 𝘁𝗋, who gets his flash and his life in the first game, where they really couldn't have done much, but this time, I mean, against the Vex, who lands like a multiple-man Mistral Bolt that does a lot of damage, just good with the fear there, because a few seconds of CC is a lot, especially in the 5v5 level 1 skirmish, where you can just do so much with it. And now here, 2 kills for the on-paper stronger team. Not a good start at all for SBTC. And I haven't really caught up with who got the kills, but let's just wait a few seconds until we see the scoreboard again, so we can find out this one. I think
who would it be best on?
probably 𝘂𝗀 and 𝘀𝗀, but I wouldn't be too. I mean, this is really too. I'm just wondering. Maybe
I'd say
Artemis is very
𝘀𝗀.
fine as well. Yeah,
Because
probably
I feel
𝘀𝗀.
like 𝘀𝗀 has been able to bully out Hero every game with the Vex. As we're going to get a replay of this. There's not really much to say here, is there?
No, there's not much to say. The 𝘁𝗁𝗃 was a 4-man fear by the Vex. 𝘁𝗀 got the first kill I just see from this replay, and the other one? I'm not quite sure. They also get some summoner spells as well, right? I mean, 𝘁𝗁𝗃's got rid of both of his on his side, and yeah, absolute disastrous start for SBTC here. This alone might have maybe cost them the game. I don't want to call it too early though, as I am a
Ooh.
caster and I tend to curse things. And Artemis, you are very far forward.
You've already cursed it. CBL now going in onto Artemis. Instant cleanse coming through. Deadly Flush gets the CC. CBL getting taken down low. 4th shot available for 𝘁𝗁𝗃, but won't quite get in range to drop it on top of Artemis. And Cerberus will be able to keep their scoreboard clean for now.
And now he sees the scoreboard, as you just mentioned. I mean, it's 1 kill onto Artemis, 1 kill onto 𝘁𝗀. He just goes with the return kill.
This is so
man.
aggressive.
Artemis...
Oh, the instant flash from Artemis is so darn clutch. And now there's a teleport coming in. As Cerberus look to turn things around. Maybe it was a bait all along. Pun looking to CBL. He gets the slow. He gets the kill. Hook shot over the wall. A 2-man stun, but they can't find more than that. Pun will run for the hill. Deadly Flush will land onto Pun, who's taken down to about a 3rd HP. And he's going to have to back off and reset.
And of course, Cerberus is more than okay with that. They get use the TP for Pun, just get another kill into him. He didn't even use his Ignited, so he can even use this in a potential 1v1 later in the top side, where he can just return now with more items he just picked up. He has another Ruby Crystal, another Longsword against 𝘁𝗁𝗃, who just straight up only has the Doran's item as a start. And yeah, it was a good idea from Penguin maybe to go for the return play there, but Artemis could just flash it, and with the TP coming out, yeah, not much to do there on the side of SBTC. And like this, 3 minutes in, 3 kills for Cerberus. It looks all as planned for them.
Yeah.
You see it again. Penguin with the
I think this
return.
was a bait the whole time. I think it was a bait. Because how else do you react to that so quickly? That was just mental from Artemis.
Maybe he's just that good. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
he is
just
pretty good,
react
to
that
be fair.
fast. I mean, I'm not sure if it really was a bait, but what inclines me to say it was a bait is that the TP was also so quick.
Yeah. The other thing I want to mention, which is why I think it was really good from Cerberus, is while all of that was happening, 𝘂𝗀 was actually invading into Penguin's jungle. I think he took away the Raptors, maybe a red buff as well. So right now, he's actually 11 CS up on Penguin. So overall for Cerberus, it's not just that kill in the bot lane that they got, but also a lot in terms of this jungle matchup.
They are basically ahead on the whole side of the map, right? I mean, the only really CS difference against them is Pun against 𝘁𝗀𝗃, and he has 2 kills on his side again, and 1 assist as well. He's obviously ahead in
Hero,
goal.
oh, he's going to be able to get the CC. The damage follows up. Penguin picks up the kill onto 𝘀𝗀𝗃.
Yeah, first Son of Life from SBTC on this side. They, up until now, I've only been losing on all sides of the map, as I just wanted to elaborate further.
Okay,
but now
Deadly
TP
Flush
maybe
locks
there's
down
more.
1 OP, and now there's a teleport coming through as well. 4th shot goes in onto 𝘁𝗁𝗃. Does he have the damage? If the W goes off, that might be 𝘁𝗁𝗃 dead. No, not dead quite. Artemis now pushing forward. That's a fair bit of damage, and I think 𝘁𝗁𝗃 might actually have to back on this, as CBL gets taken down so low from the Vex combo.
And they just barely survived. This is actually a huge loss from Cerberus. They now drop some farm in the mid lane, of course. I mean, the Vero can pick it up, so it's not the end of the world for them, but now they just drop another kill. Use the TP there, and also don't really get an advantageous play from this TP itself. They maybe get a turret plating in the bot side, but that's basically all it. On another note, though, 𝘁𝗀𝗃 being bot lane is also not really doing him any favors here, because he cannot really farm well against the bot lane on the side of Cerberus. It's actually 𝘀𝗀𝗃 and Artemis, the both range carries on their side, so 𝘁𝗁𝗃 really doesn't have any fun there. And in the meantime, Silence against 𝘁𝗁𝗃, not the best matchup either on the top side. So at the end of the day, it's probably fine for them. Shadow Surge,
that is a Shadow Surge landing. That is a very dead 𝘁𝗁𝗃. And now they can look towards CBL. So much damage. A double kill coming in for 𝘀𝗀𝗃. His first 2 kills of the game. Uses the second or the 3rd proc of the Shadow Surge just to clear through the wave. And 𝘁𝗁𝗃's not even going to be able to approach this tower. So much experience, so much gold going over to the side of Cerberus.
And you cannot really feel good about this if you're 𝘁𝗃𝗃. I mean, you get bullied under the turret by it if you get the wave, and you just don't try to get this wave as well, and accept that you get harassed, but this is not all of it. I mean, the turret doesn't protect you from a 4v1 dive. Also, really nice use of the Shadow Surge from back there, because he hits it, and then the stealth of 𝘁𝗁𝗃 doesn't really matter there. He can just Shadow Surge in any way, and once the Twilight Shroud is off, you can just get the fear out, and now the CC is all up there, and 𝘁𝗁𝗃 is just vulnerable, and easy kills for Cerberus. Also, reset mechanic from Vex and Viego both help there a lot. So 2 kills for them. It's a 3k gold lead at 7 minutes. Here we see it again. Shadow Sledge hits. And yeah, she's not invisible really for them. And they can just get the kill here. It's a reset for the Viego. He just gets untargetable shortly, which is also great for tower diving because you can reset the aggro with this. And this also makes it very easy for Cerberus to dive this. No. Vex far ahead again. Topside has never been behind. Also, by now, Pan is ahead in CS against 𝘀cie for some reason, because the dive was also very costly for them, and the whole map is already falling apart for SBTC.
I feel like it's also important to mention as well in that play, 𝘀𝗷 actually resetting the tower aggro initially, because he landed the Shadow Surge, backed out of tower, and then went in, which maybe kept himself alive. But either way, a very large lead for the side of Cerberus. Drake is up, Rift Herald will be up momentarily as well. And you can see Penguin in the top lane sneaking his way in as the side of SBTC look for a potential play onto the Cerberus top laner.
I wonder if he can even do this unless Pan uses his hookshot offensively there, because 𝘀cie also, even without the flash, has many escaping tools. One of them would be just killing the enemy top laner and then walking out because the other one couldn't fight you. But either way, 𝘀cie has the options there. Hookshot defensively would work brilliantly there, and you can also buy some time with the extra ultimatum there. So turret diving her is also no easy task, and now the lead is really getting abused by Cerberus. They can start the Rift Herald there. There's of course prior top lane there. 𝘀cie just now needed to shop, so there's a lot of time there for free that they can use. But Viego can just solo it anyway. He is very destined to do so with his startings of the Divine Sunra build, and on the other side of the map, of course, the bot lane leading heavily by 20 CS by 1 kill and a lot of assists as well for Artemis. He should be like 1k, 1.5k gold ahead alone on the enemy bot laner.
A lot of assists for Artemis. He would be hoping that some of those assists were kills, but I'm sure he'll be happy to have 1 kill over 0 and, well, a 24 CS lead currently over 𝘀cie as well. Now Drake has spawned, Rift Herald has been secured by Ego. Things definitely going the way of Cerberus right now. And don't forget to our viewers, for those of you joining us in the VCS for the first time, this is the second game of the split for both teams, and both teams won their opening game. So this makes this effectively the battle for the top seed or the top spot in the league.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cerberus is making a good case for themselves as a top team, but if they win this series, because SBTC also probably like a middle of the pack team, but beating 𝘀cie the day before, if the opening match is also one hell of a statement. Now the Rift Herald gets dropped here. It's 2 platings to be taken in the bot lane, and the Rift Herald with his 2 damage will take
Oh no.
out. It will be...
This is a classic Ego Rift Herald, isn't it? Where it doesn't end up getting the charge. It's going to be actually kind of close. Oh wow, Ego, come on, you made this mistake against 𝘀cie, you can't do it again!
I remember,
Ego, what are you
makes
doing?
me angry because this is so unnecessary. You can just walk to the lane and press it there. This is so easy to do. This is basic League of Legends. I could do that, and I have no hands.
And my mum calls me lazy.
Exactly. These are professional players. I expect better of you. It would be so huge for them. Either way, this is not a small thing. It's 2 platings, it's 300 gold, it's first turret gold, it's turret gold in general, and they are breaking the game open, and by now, yeah, Pan takes the solo kill there. 𝘀cie, by the way, with Ignite, very nice to play against, and it's a 4k gold lead, it could have been a 5k gold lead by now. So this makes me angry.
Yeah, it should be a higher goal lead, without a doubt. But well played by Pan in the top lane to look at the positives for Cerberus, and both Penguin and Hero waiting over the walls for an opportunity to go in. Gonna steal away the Viego ult going in. 𝘀𝗷 flashes, actually stays alive. Someone needs to tank the ultimate, and 𝘀𝗷 out of range. Hero will fall. 𝘀𝗷 picks up the kill. Pan has a think about going in with the hookshot, decides against it, and realizes maybe I'm not that strong, especially without my Ignite and my ultimate available as well. Cerberus get another kill, and Artemis just free firing in the bottom lane. Free tower gold, free experience. Cerberus completely in the driving seat.
And here we saw for the first time ever in VCS a player backing off from a play, which was the hookshot from Pan there. Just kidding. It's like when you hit the Sonic with Lee Sin, right? Your mind is telling you no, your body wants to tell you yes, and yeah. Oh no, anyway, Pan knew that he couldn't close it up this way, but yeah, no. Artemis was free farming in the bot lane, all while that was happening. They got a kill in the mid lane. 𝘀𝗷 was magically surviving this, and it was really well done there by Ego to block the shots. He was using his Heartbreaker offensively and then immediately walked back in just to make sure the curtain call doesn't finish his teammate off. And like this, yeah, it was like both sides of the map winning again for Cerberus. I mean, free farm for Artemis, a kill in the mid lane. And shortly earlier, as we saw, the solo bowler for Pan against 𝘀𝗀. And this game looks all about over, let's be honest. It's a 6k gold lead at 12 minutes, and maybe I just jinxed it with saying this, but it looks pretty done.
Yeah, and actually, 𝘁𝗀, you'll notice his teleport is on cooldown. He just teleported to the top lane and tried to make a 2v1 play onto punt with 𝘀𝗀, and sadly was unsuccessful. Fight for the 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀. I don't quite know who got it. Went over to the side of SBTC, but CBL will pay for it with his life. Instant cleanse coming through, but flash forward. Shield of Daybreak, stun down onto 𝘀𝗶𝗏𝗏ty. The kick will come through, takes 𝘁𝗀 out of the fight, and 𝘁𝗀 can't get over the wall with the abduct. It's 2 kills going the way of Cerberus, and now 𝘁𝗀, he's stuck on the wrong side of the map. Hookshot, lockdown, more lockdown from 𝘁𝗀 with a Spectral more, and 𝘁𝗀 picks up the kill. 10 kills to 2, a 7k goal lead, and as you said, 𝘀𝗀cie, this game is over.
Yeah, this game looks all about over. Another plating here also in the mid lane for Artemis, while we added 3 kills again for Cerberus 4-0, and SBTC really needs to be wary when they use any dash at all, because they just use it to secure the Scuttle, which was really greedy there by Penguin, and I'm not sure what he tried to do there. I mean, of course, get the Scuttle XP, get the Scuttle goal, but you have no business being there when you're this far behind, and the top side of Cerberus was just up there to punish you there, and the gold lead just extends. It's now 7k gold lead at 13 minutes. It's like, on average, they make 500 gold more than the enemy team, which is a really impressive start. And they started with minute 1 as well, because they had this lucky level 1 play, I would say, for 𝘀𝗀 with the form and fear, and yeah, it's really falling apart for SBTC if it hasn't already.
I feel like this game is even more one-sided than the Saigon Buffalo against Burst the Sky game we saw on Tuesday, I think it was.
Must have been yesterday, because it wasn't on the
yesterday?
opening day where I was on
Okay.
deck. So yeah. Yeah, it must have been,
So it would have been Wednesday
yesterday. Yeah.
Okay,
And yeah,
good.
Vex, by the way.
Silas.
Goodbye, Silence. Vex doesn't even need an ignite or anything like that for this. I mean, just hits the spell, you get a switch because it's
I
guaranteed
think
to hit.
Penguin wants to die as well here.
Yeah, I think Yellow
teleport-
lives.
No other teleports available as the ult comes through. CBL just wants to be able to get in range to use a Twisted Advance. The fear drops down 𝘀𝗀. If he can get another rotation of spells, he might actually be able to get the kill here. It gets close. Nature's Grasp gets the kill. CBL picks up the shutdown.
Yeah, and that's kind of what makes it somewhat even okay for Cerberus. I mean, they give the kill, the shutdown kill over to the support, who does not really make great use of it, of course. 𝘀𝗀 wants to get this Imperial Mandate at some point, I guess, to have like a little bit of a damage spike on his side for the support.
Oh, can we just have an
Yeah.
F for CBL? Because the poor guy, he's only just been able to buy a Ruby Crystal.
Oh, I mean,
dear.
yeah. Supports deserve gold. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
As a support main, you're free to point that out. And yeah, he deserves this. I think it was like 800 gold surge he just got from killing the Vex with the shutdown there. And yeah, I mean, I'm not the one to say like you don't deserve this this amount of money. I mean,
I
PBL is all up
honestly
for it.
think. So I'm a big fan of saying that supports always deserve the bounties, right? So people will say, okay, ADCs or your carry need the bounty because they want the extra gold. But I think of it like this. An ADC has so much gold already. If they get a bounty, that's like 5% of their income. It's not that much of a difference. If the support gets the bounty, that's like 200% of their income. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, well speaking, it's more gold for them. Yeah, and we see it now in the gold graph that the VCS observers just showed. He's almost even in gold against 1 OP in this disaster of a game. I mean, that just speaks volume, right? It's almost a 9,000 gold lead now. Herald Charge number 2 might come out. And you know what triggers me now?
Ego, can you stop doing that?
No, I mean, this was fine to get the tier 2 charge, but he gets a somewhat decent Herald charge off with the second Herald, which matters less, but with the first Herald, where it would have been actually very impactful, he does a half job on it, and a half measure basically, because he just dropped it the wrong way and then lets it get clear out before it can even charge. And it's not the first time he did it, so it's not an accident. He does this intentionally. He is really making a mock of us.
I'm just done. Like, Ego is the worst jungler I've ever seen at dropping a Rift Herald.
And this is so triggering because otherwise he's a great jungler, right? He has mechanics,
yeah.
but he gets the hard stuff
He's
done,
the
but
best
the easy stuff
jungler
he
in the
doesn't.
league. I wonder what's going on in the Cerberus briefing room after the game. Right, good job, everyone. Good job, Ego. Do you mind if you actually use the Rift Herald properly? It's like he needs to be taken to League of Legends nursery to be taught how to use a Rift Herald.
I mean, that's the thing. I think this competition doesn't happen because if so, it would have happened yesterday, right? And
Yeah.
it clearly didn't because he just did it again.
Maybe the coach was just like, okay, he made a mistake. Sometimes it happens. But I think now, after he's done it twice in this game, I think maybe a discussion needs to be had to some degree, possibly. Who knows?
Hopefully. And
I'd love to
speaking of
hear the
which-
voice comms, actually. I think that could be quite entertaining. I mean, not that I understand what the teams are saying in Vietnamese, but if I could get the subtitles as well, that'd be quite cool.
Or we get a translator. I mean, we have a very nice VCS English community of 2,000 people with some people who actually understand Vietnamese. So there would be one way to get what they actually say in the conversations or in the communication in-game at least. Either way, 10,000 gold lead almost for Cerberus. Next week coming up in 3 minutes, and this will surely be theirs to take if it even gets this far. Because, I mean, if you're this far ahead, you have Video Camille, you have MF, you might just actually go for an early Baron. Unless, of course, Penguin steals it, which would, of course, never happen.
No. Well, some of the Ego's plays have been questionable with regards to jungle objectives. And we saw Cerberus making that throw at Baron, not getting the right setup against 𝘀𝗰𝗋𝗀𝗀, not going to connect onto any members. Well, by any members, I mean Celebrity or Penguin. Cerberus can just keep on extending their goal lead, just pushing waves forward. They don't have to do anything crazy until that Drake or Baron spawns in just in around 2 minutes' time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just now it's a little bit of a lull set of the game. There's not really any objective up that Cerberus might take, so there's also no need for SBTC to really contest anything much, but it looks like they may just go for a play there in the mid lane as I see on the mini-map.
Artemis getting caught out, Artemis getting banged around, and Artemis are taken down. But what can Cerberus do in response? CBL will fall. Now the focus goes on to Hero. Another Shadow Search forward. That was really nice by Ember, sacrificing himself, but the reset will still come through. Do they look for Celebrity? Of course they do. Oh my god! That damage is ridiculous. That damage is lethal. That damage is unacceptable. Hookshot forward, Celebrity. You can run, but the paparazzi ain't here with you this time. It's a quadra kill for Pun on the Camille, and Cerberus are well and truly ahead in this game.
And that was the weirdest flex ever by Cerberus, because apparently they don't even need Artemis in this fight. He just gets one shot at the start of it, doesn't flash, doesn't use ultimate, because there's no chance. He just got Insect there. And 4v5, Cerberus is still ahead in gold. Here we see the fight again. There's a lot of resources burned to just kill Artemis. Solar Flare plus the kick here from Penguin.
He kicked them out of the flourish.
But yeah,
Not
but with the
again.
Shadow Touch landing, it was just okay. So yeah, Camille also doesn't really get touched here by SBTC as they just try to run as good as they can, but with the Shadow Searches, the fears always come out. There's so much catch-up potential on the side of Camille and Bex. Camille with a double hook shot, of course, can do so much to clear this up, and yeah, there's not really much to do on the side of SBTC. They just try to throw everything and the kitchen sink onto the Misfortune. They got her, but they still lost the fight 5-2, gave a corner kill to the Camille. Good luck winning that game, SBTC.
I'm kind of surprised that we didn't come out of the replay with Cerberus about to end the game. The base is still standing for SBTC, so they're doing a good job 20 minutes in. All of their inhibitor towers pretty much largely untouched. Is this Cerberus getting greedy on the recalls?
Yeah,
oh
probably.
no,
I mean,
Pun.
Pun had to die, right? I mean, he only gives a...
Oh, he's giving the kill over to the 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 That's like
Should
triple
probably-
his income right there.
I wonder if the 𝘁𝗀𝗀 is ahead of the Leona in gold right now. He probably
Yeah,
is, right?
definitely.
You know, I mean, support doesn't make much per second.
Okay,
That's
Hero,
good.
that's aggressive. Drops down the Everfrost. And will be forced to run out. Pun just says, but my health bar's still full. Did you do something to me, Silas?
Yeah, and also I want to speak one more about the 1k gold shutdown. I mean, it was just shutdown itself. The kill gold, the 300 gold, which should still go on him, but now is another fight.
There is a fight. Artemis will get his third kill of the game. Penguin over the wall. 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀, well, is kind of stuck in the red buff pit. He's going to be able to use a perfect execution now, but Artemis on the hunt. One more auto
Red buff.
might be enough to do the kill. Flashes forward, secures it. Meanwhile, 𝘀𝑠BTC are running, but they're dying. And
Yeah,
that's not very good.
They are running, but they're also not running in the same direction. Also nice tuning icon flash by Ego here. Maybe he wants SOFM to notice him. I don't know what is really the intention is behind it. Anyway, they now clear up the base here on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC. Inhibitor is falling, and yeah, 𝘀𝑠BTC cannot really do anything. They're just so far behind. I don't really can analyze their way too much, let's be honest. They just don't even run in the same direction, so it's easier to split them off with the Camille, who is very happy to have a lot of 1v1s in a row because she's very good at this and is maybe at potential to die if she goes into multiple members or go through turrets or something, and this is not what happened there. So like this service just extend the lead a little bit more. To be fair, it has been a 10k gold lead for a while now. It's a 12k gold lead. It is not extending that rapidly actually, but it should still be just a done deal for them. Maybe one more fight and then Baron, or one more fight and then the finishing push for them.
Or maybe make 𝘀𝑠BTC suffer and wait until Elder.
Or maybe
knows?
overstay the base and give over 5k in shutdowns in total and
let
lose the
𝘀𝑠BTC
game.
win. Yeah.
Yes.
By
We've
the way,
seen it all.
Can we bring up the fact that 𝘀𝑠BTC haven't got a single tower? They haven't even taken a tower down to half health.
I wonder if they got the single plating. They probably didn't, right? I mean, mostly the tier 1 damage
I don't think so.
to it done. When you're behind, you usually do it a little bit later when nobody cares about the tier 1 turret that much
Yeah.
more. Or when a wave just crashes there and it gets ignored for better things. So probably not much that 𝘀𝑠BTC has gotten there. Now, 𝘁 steals the Solar Flare, which is one ultimate that could bring them back if they land a good Solar Flare onto the Misfortune. But as we've seen earlier, even if you one-shot the Misfortune, you probably still lose the fight if you have to take it.
Yeah, I don't even think Mad Lions could come back from this kind of a gold deficit, but maybe 𝘀𝑠BTC can pull something off. Maybe Cerberus get too aggressive. Artemis just going to start soloing up the Baron because he's feeling himself. As 𝘀𝗀 trying to 1v3 right now. Now there's a teleport coming in. Solar Flare will land onto Penguin. One's down. Maybe a second down as the Nature's Grasp actually going to connect onto Run because he's ulted out of the 𝘀𝗀ci ultimate. Now he looks towards Celebrity. That's going to be a cleanse coming through, and Celebrity is going to be able to find one kill with the 4th shot. And now he's in a 1v2 scenario. The Make It Rain. That is one of the dirtiest ways to pick up a kill as a Misfortune, especially when you're building AD. Yano, meanwhile, he's just teleported into the mid lane. He's going to end this game. Cerberus are going to take a 2-1 win over 𝘀𝑠BTC. Two teams coming in, having won their opening game, and it will be Cerberus who will stand at the top of the VCS Winter Split 2-0.
It wasn't the cleanest finish, but it was one of that. They just slapped them and won with their wallets because they are that far ahead. And yeah, 𝘀𝑠BTC could just wonder. At least their most valuable team member at the 𝘀𝗀ci could survive a little bit in this. But at the end of the day, it is 2-1 for Cerberus. They shouldn't even have dropped the second game, I would say. But yeah, this is what you deserve when you overstay so much, as they have done a little bit in this game as well. But like this, I mean, 𝘀𝑠BTC drops a game, drops a series against Cerberus, and Cerberus, with this, stand at the top of the table. I would say, though, not the cleanest way you could have a leading team at the top of the table, but a welcome one anyway.
Right, and with that, I think it is time to bring our wonderful analyst 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀 back on in. 𝘀𝗶𝗹, I feel like Cerberus played kind of well in that game.
Yeah, they kind of took that really early lead from the cheese and kept it rolling pretty much the entire time. There were a few like picks and kills traded back, but it didn't really feel like Cerberus were ever threatened at all. The 𝘁𝗁 was not part of the game pretty much. Last I bothered to look at her scoreboard, she was down like 30 CS and 3 kills to the opponent, to the Camille. Just wasn't a factor.
It wasn't. Either way, I'm kind of curious now because Cerberus, they had that iffy game in game 2. They had this dominating game in game 3. And 𝘀𝗀 was saying that essentially from that first play, maybe the game was over from that point. Is that a sentiment that you would echo?
I mean, probably not the first play, but as soon as that teleport from 𝘁𝗀 came down and turned the bot lane play around that Penguin tried to make, yeah, I'd say from there it was pretty much over.
Okay. So, I mean, how strong are we seeing Cerberus now? Because we've seen them play against 𝘀𝗀, we've seen them play against 𝘀𝑠BTC, and 𝘀𝗀, these are two of arguably the top 4 teams in the league that they've played against. Now, they just have Saigon Buffalo to take on next, and then they've faced all of the top teams in the VCS already.
I mean, their strength of schedule definitely speaks in their favor, as I just now played 2 strong teams, and as you say, they play Buffalo next, which is another top team, I would assume, from the strength on paper we have established in the VCS. And I gotta say, their ceiling is pretty high. I mean, we have seen in game 1 where they had like the deficit, and then the one fight where they could just rush in and immediately turn the back around for them and then absolutely abuse the lead. Similarly, they did so in this game. But yeah, I think there's just no clean team really in the VCS at the moment. 𝘀𝗀 also has a lot of room to grow, but we have seen with teams like 𝘀𝗀 and with 𝘀𝗏 just right now and yesterday, yeah, they have really a strong ceiling, and this definitely speaks in their favor.
Okay, well, a solid performance from the side of Cerberus. But looking towards SBTC, 𝘀𝗶𝗶, what can they really take away from the series heading into tomorrow's games?
Well, going in, who do they have next to play? They next play 𝘁𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀. So it's been a really tough run for SBTC. I think coming into the next series, you're just sort of looking again at trying to maybe find a few more of those champions that can flex between top and mid that Hero can pick up. Because I think that's really the thing holding them back the most. Otherwise, they can generally make good plays around the jungle and around Celebrity. But beyond that, it's so hard to say. It's so hard to really nail down problems that don't stem from the fact that they are running 2 top laners and they have to rely on this very limited champion pool.
Okay, so I have a final question that I'd like to ask both of you before we wrap up the show, which is, looking at SBTC, who do you think is better out of 𝘀𝗀 and Hero? And the reason why I ask that is because when Artifact rejoins, I'm essentially saying, who do you think should be starting in the top lane out of the two of them? And I'll go to you first, 𝘀𝗶𝗶.
I think from what I've seen, you could go with both. Both have had really good games. Both had pretty lackluster games.
Both.
I mean, no, you can't obviously run both. Which is saying, but that's saying from a individual mechanical level, they're both about as good as each other. I would lean towards Hero for the experience, coming into it, and I don't know what the comms are like, of course. So if it's actually 𝘀𝗀 who's like super vocal and like bringing a lot to the comms, maybe you keep him instead of Hero. But I think generally Hero he's the more experienced top laner, so I would go with him first.
𝘀𝗀?
I would also slightly favor Hero, but it's not that black and white as 𝘀𝗶𝗶 initially implied here, because I mean both had their ups, had their lows in the series they played so far. I would say Hero maybe has a slight edge because he played well in a role he is not comfortable with, and also played really well in the game before. I mean, 𝘀𝗀 had his Camille flanks also in this game, but yeah, Hero, more experienced, the top laner, plays better in not his most comfortable role. I would give him the edge because of this one.
Okay, well, 𝘀𝗀, 𝘀𝗀𝗋, thank you very much for joining me once again. Tomorrow we will be back with more VCS action as 𝘀𝗀 take on 𝘁𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀, and then 𝘀𝗀 will be losing to 𝘀𝑀 after that game. Thank you guys, everyone, very much for joining in. We'll see you again tomorrow.